Hello, welcome to New Century Hall in Manchester. The countdown is well and truly on in just a couple of days' time. Liam Smith and Chris Eubank Jr., well, they go once again. And if it's anything like the first one, we cannot wait. The question, though, is, will it be repeat or will it be revenge? Or if you're Chris Eubank Jr., revenge or revenge? Andy Clark, Matt Macklin, Johnny Nelson. This is a fight that we all cannot wait for. We're all so very much looking forward to it, Johnny, and another great night here in Manchester coming your way on Saturday.
Without a doubt, Manchester, if you saw the public workout yesterday, there must have been about 1,000 people.
Such a good turnout.
You know, it was such a good turnout. And when Chris came in, he actually, you could see he was happy when he got booed. He was really happy, and Liam walked in with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. But the fans, they actually played their part. They're so important in this fight. They played their part, built up the week, and I actually smiled to myself because I thought Saturday night will be absolutely buzzing because these two guys there's no pretending. No. They're not the bestest of friends, but one's a no-nonsense kind of guy, and one will play the nonsense kind of guy.
We've got so much to get stuck into, but before we get stuck into this one on Saturday, let's just go back to that first fight, Matt. When Liam Smith knocked Eubank out, and in spectacular fashion as well, did you see that coming?
No. I thought Liam would win a close, sort of maybe a split decision, very back and forth competitive fight. I thought he was, cuter, better defence, all that type of thing, but not in my wildest predictions that I could have possibly thought he was going to do him as convincingly as he did him in the way he did him. I just, Eubank to me has always had solid whiskers, and Liam wasn't a big puncher at super welterweight. Excellent fighter, world class, former world champion, but not a big puncher. And moving up in weight, no, I didn't see that finish coming at all.
I think it was one of those, Andy, that we thought Liam could win, but we were all quite sort of surprised how he did it. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, hugely. Yeah. Like Matt said, there were plenty of people who picked him to win, just not like that. And I don't know anyone after the event who claimed that they did think that would happen. Normally you get some clown who turns up with, Photoshop betting slips to try and claim that they saw it coming. But with this one, no one did that. And you saw, the build-up for the fight this week on Behind the Ropes and all of that, you saw Matt's reaction at ringside and George's. George couldn't even speak because he's been in the ring with Eubank at super middleweight and he's hit him with that massive right hand of his and he never budged. So he definitely didn't expect to see it. None of us expected to see it.
And I think it's that then raises the questions going into this fight and how Chris Eubank Jr. going into the first fight, he was so outspoken, wasn't he, about, I've never been buzzed, I've never been down. But he did. He was in that fight. How does that affect him psychologically going into this one, Johnny?
I think he's so resilient. When we did the gloves are off, he came down and he knew he was going to be in the eye of the storm because Liam had everything to throw at him, everything that he said. He had it all to throw back in his face. And Chris was there to take the beating and came out with this, it was a lucky shot. It was the elbow. All these preposterous things he was going to say to excuse losing because of the things they said the first time. So now, right now, he knows what it's like to have egg on his face. He knows, I want to show these people it was a lucky shot. I want to show these people I can do this. And if he does turn around and somehow beats Liam Smith, I'm telling you, you've got to put him up there in estimation because of how he's turned it around from getting knocked out in such a fashion and being written off almost by most people.
But as a fighter, Matt, when you've never been down and then it happens like it did, how does that affect you going to this? Is there a doubt in the back of your mind, or is the fact that it's happened maybe a positive? Because I guess what's the worst that can happen going into this one?
I think everyone's different. Some people can just brush it off and think I got caught with a shot. That's boxing. Other people, it damages them. They become gun shy. So psychologically, it knocks their confidence, and they never really return to the fight they were before. And we don't know which we're going to see out of Eubank until Saturday night.
Exactly. I mean, that's a plain question, isn't it? But in terms of Liam, he's going into this full of confidence, isn't he, after that first victory?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's done it once. It stands to reason. Logic dictates that he can do it again, and it makes the build-up. It'll be interesting to see what we get today, but it makes the build-up for him straightforward. He can sit there and the gloves are off with Johnny. And any time Eubank said anything, he could just say, so what happened in January again? Remind me, what happened in the first fight? It's the easiest thing in the world. And you look at his background, and with the 4 boxing brothers, it's got to be one of the kind of most realistic backgrounds you can have in terms of accepting what can happen in there, because he's seen his 2 older brothers get brutally stopped. So he knew. He knew it could happen to him. It did against Canelo, and he got over it. I mean, I've never spoken to him about that, but I imagine he got over it pretty easily.
Well, that was a body shot, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he's still here, headlining pay-per-views. You know, he knows that anything can happen in there, but so does Eubank now.
And we've seen Liam Smith this week. A little bit spiky, which is the Liam, isn't it? That is very much Liam Smith going into fight week, and that's part of his character. That's part of what makes him who he is, Johnny. And I think you like that, don't you, in him?
You'd think Liam lost the last fight. You think Liam was the one that needed it more than to prove something more than Chris did. And actually, Liam's got to think to himself, right? Because he doesn't like any of this nonsense that Chris says about 60%, even if it's tongue-in-cheek. So now Liam's saying it was luck. That bothers. Now Chris says it's luck. That bothers Liam. So Liam's thinking, you know what? I'm going to double prove it. And he's spiking with everybody. I like that because it showed he's not complacent. It shows he's not thought, I've got this guy's number. I don't have to do this. I don't do that. It shows me that he's coming with the same amount of intent he did in the first fight because he wants to put everything to bed. He wants to be the guy that retires Junior.
He's got a point to prove, isn't he? And at the open workout, the public workout yesterday, I mean, Chris was a little bit late, but that's just Chris, isn't it? That's Chris Eubank Jr., we know that. But Liam was very much, this is me, I'm the A-side, I'm not hanging around, this is all about me, and that's the attitude he's very much coming with, Matt.
No, I doubt there's a fighter on this level that's more unaffected by limelight and fame than Liam Smith. He's probably as down-to-earth and as grounded as you can possibly get. He still plays for his Sunday football team after a fight.
He'll be probably playing on Sunday, won't he, as well?
There's no airs of grace, and no quarter given. He is matter of fact. Johnny said there, maybe a bit of a chip on the shoulder. I don't know, but he's just what you see is what you get, and he doesn't say things for effect. He knows he's a real fighter, as Andy alluded to there about. He knows what can happen in boxing because he'd have had his older brothers on a pedestal, as all younger brothers do, and he's think they're his heroes. And Paul got knocked out by George Groves, came back and had great performances after that. So he knows this is boxing. You've just got to get yourself up, dust yourself down, and go again.
And that's exactly how he's coming, isn't it?
Exactly.
Chris, he's changed trainers now. He's linked up with Beaumac. I mean, realistically, Andy, how much can Beaumac do in the time that he's had with him? I mean, it's not been long, really, has it, in terms of a new trainer?
No, I mean, not very much. He's got 5 weeks. I guess you can try and re-drill a few basics because they're already there, and maybe you've strayed away from them a bit, you've neglected them a bit. You could possibly do that. But what was interesting at the workout yesterday, and this was something that you both mentioned, was that Eubank was in that ring and he had a team around him. We haven't always seen that. He's always been a bit of a loner. Roy kind of came by himself. Sometimes you go to a workout and you didn't even really know who would be in the ring with him. You didn't even really know who the third and fourth people in the corner would be on the night. But we know with these guys because they come as a package and they're all around him, and it's kind of Team Eubank. And I think that's quite different for him, and it gives it a different optic for us.
A good choice for Chris to link up with Beaumac. I mean, Beaumac's apparently been trying to break him down a little bit, making him get up, do those early morning runs, which really isn't Chris. He's more of a night owl. He's not used to doing that, but Beaumac's really tried to drill him on that.
And I said this yesterday, I'm not a fan of fighters chopping and training trainers. I use Matt as an example from his experience. He said, I probably wish I never did that as a fighter, because you've got to develop a relationship with your coach that understands when you're up, when you're down, understand the terminology, understand everything about one another. So he knows when times are rough in the corner, what to say to motivate you and when to calm you down, when to not make a mistake. So this union for 4.5 weeks, 5 weeks, it's a nonsense. An absolute nonsense, because once the fight gets tough, once the fight and anything rough is happening, you're going to go back to type. You're going back to type, and that is what Chris will do. He needs time. 5.5 weeks before such a big fight, to me, it's crazy.
But isn't that kind of what we need to see from Chris? Chris going back to type, the old version of Chris?
Yeah, I think so. And Roy Jones, after the first fight, did say that Chris didn't really do what he wanted him to do, because what he wanted him to do was be the Eubank of old. I guess the question regarding the Eubank of old is, does the Eubank of old still exist? Because that guy was a super middleweight, and although we'd always talk about he's not really a super middleweight, he obviously had tons of energy, not loads of size, but tons of energy, really good punch resistance. Maybe at middleweight, that guy isn't there.
Well, look, coming down in weight, one thing it's definitely going to affect is your stamina. Boiling down, it's going to affect your energy on the night. And as you get older, coming down in weight gets harder. Also, as you get older, your stamina just decreases anyway, because that's father time, and punch resistance after a long, hard career. It could be gone. His punch resistance could be shot.
And that's the one thing he's going to need in this fight. If he wants to change the script, he needs to bring energy, he needs to bring pace, he needs to bring hellfire to Liam, because if he gives him space to box and think and set him up, he loses again. So he's got to put him. So the energy that he had, the punch output that he had, that's what he needs for this fight. Otherwise, there's no way out. There's no luck. There's nothing else there for him.
Okay, we're just going to take a pause from talking about the main event, because the undercard press conference is not too far off now, Andy, but it's a brilliant undercard. I'm not just saying that. Who are you most looking forward to seeing?
Well, Azim's always great to watch, so I'm looking forward to him, but I love a domestic clash, a British title fight. So I'm all over Mark Heffron against Jack Cullen.
Commonwealth as well,
Yeah, I'm all over that, because they used to be gym mates. Mark used to be with the Jennings. He's now back with Joe, who he started with a long time ago. Jack Cullen's with the Jennings. They know each other really well. They've sparred loads of rounds. They're both really good to watch. And it just can't miss.
That fight, either one could knock each other out as well, isn't it? And it could. I mean, that could turn out to be one of the fights of the night.
That's the fight. Apart from the main event is the main event, and it's intriguing. Other than that, it's the British title fight I'm looking forward to.
Johnny, what about you? Who are you looking forward to seeing most on the undercard?
Well, I'm looking at the table, and it's like a lineup of the usual suspects. I'm thinking that is such a talented undercard, an intriguing undercard. And so, again, to me, I smile because obviously I want to see Fraser. How Fraser, you expect him to beat Dave Allen, you expect him to beat, but the thing is, if he slipped up, every expectation, every dream that Fraser had is gone. And Dave Allen said, look, I've got a lot of respect for him, but if he stands there and has a fight with me, it's the worst thing he could do. So now it's about Fraser showing discipline as a fighter, not greed.
We haven't seen Dave Allen on Sky for a couple of years, really. But he seems in a really good place, linked up with Jamie Moore and Travis as well. And I think the fact that he's been consistently training as well, that stands him in good stead. And what he's saying is he genuinely believes he can beat Fraser.
Yeah, I find what he's been saying quite convincing. I'm not sure if I think that he can win, but at the same time, when this match was made, if I'm honest, I didn't like it. Because what we've seen Dave do in the past is trade on that tough guy image, and it be a case of, look at how many punches I can take. And I didn't want to watch that anymore, basically. But I don't think he's in that mode any longer. In 3 years, he says he's grown up quite a lot. He's got a kid now. He's got another one on the way. And he realises that he can box. He is a decent fighter. And he doesn't just need to go in there and almost in this masochistic way show us how tough he is by taking fights at short notice against ridiculously strong fighters. He's trained properly. He's taken himself away to Manchester. And crucially for me, Jamie Moore and Nigel Travis, they're not the guys who are just going to put someone in a fight if he's being lined up for a shellacking. They're just not going to be interested in doing that. So the fact that they're with him, that says quite a lot for me.
What do you reckon, Matt?
Yes, exactly that. The fact that Jamie and Nigel have put the time with him, the fact they've come here.
They're very confident. I spoke to Jamie last night, and he seems very confident.
Very confident. So he hasn't been, just turning up and going through the motions, messing about. He's knuckled down and done what they've asked of him. So that does make me think, okay, this could be interesting.
And what about Michaela Mayer? She's back here. This is a third fight in the UK. Very much looking forward to see her in action on Saturday night. Moving up in weight as well. Obviously got to get through Saturday, but Natasha Jonas, the name's been mentioned in the mix, and we've obviously got Natasha with us on Saturday.
It's like a train wreck. So Lauren is looking at Michaela, thinking you're my ear. Michaela's looking at Natasha. So and you can see these fights could easily happen. I'm interested to see how Michaela goes on with Natasha, and I'm also interested to see how Lauren would go on with Michaela. I think it's such a a situation to be in, but something we can seriously look forward to happening.
Yeah, it's a good fight. Looking forward to that one, Matt.
Pardon?
Good fight. Looking forward to that one. It's getting a little bit louder in here.
Yeah, definitely. Look, Lauren's Olympic gold medalist. She's so much talent, and she's going to, she's moving quickly already. So I'd say she is eyeing those fights up. Obviously, Tasha, a bit further down the line, probably hasn't got loads of fights left, but she's, she hasn't been looking like she's been slipping. Her performances have still been very
stage
good.
In their career to me, Tasha and Michaela.
Sorry.
Okay. This is how this one's going to go today, isn't it? I said a good. Should we just pass on the question? Yeah. A good stage in their career, and Tasha and Jonas, should they meet?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Michaela is stepping up and kind of throwing her hat in the ring at welterweight. I wasn't expecting, but it's a smart move because Katie Taylor's got all the belts at lightweight. She won't defend any of them this year. Chantel's got them all. Chantel Cameron at super lightweight, so they're all kind of in cold storage to a degree. So she's looked around and just thought, all right, fine, let's do welterweight then. Tasha Jonas is the world champion. Yeah. I mean, it's smart.
You can see all of them up there. It is one of those nights on Saturday that it is just a brilliant night to be part of, that they'll just be super happy to be getting that platform, that exposure, and part of a really, really strong card.
I think the fans will turn out and show their appreciation in Manchester. I think every fighter on this bill, and again, I keep looking at that on the card, and I think, you know what, it's tasty. I like this look here. There's not anybody I'd actually write off. It's just a good thing to look forward to come Saturday night.
All right, okay, well, the undercard press conference is just about to get underway, so let's hand you over to Big Mo for all the introductions.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Fight Week. Welcome to day 2 of Fight Week here at New Century for today's press conference as we head towards this Saturday's box office show live from the AO Arena in Manchester on Sky Sports Box Office and internationally syndicated to ESPN Plus for the rematch between Liam Smith and Chris Eubank Jr. We would like to thank our sponsors today, Bet365, Everlast, Wow Hydrate, Village Hotels, IFX Payments, Workwear Express, and Forged Irish Stout. We have a full stage of personalities and fighters getting ready to go to war this Saturday. Luckily, it's not my job to control the chaos today. I would leave that to Mr. Andy Scott from Sky Sports, and also to Ben Shalom, the CEO of Boxer and the promoter of this Saturday's show. And now introducing the fighters that are joining us on stage first. We'll start at the table here on my height first from Liverpool. Please welcome the undefeated Frankie Stringer. The Irishman with 18 wins, 8 of which by knockout. Please welcome the real deal, Dylan Moran. Dylan's opponent from Lucia, Albania, the undefeated IBF International welterweight champion, the Albanian king, Florian Marku. From Lusaka, Zambia, with a record of 18 wins versus 1 defeat, please welcome Black Diamond, Lolita Musea. Her opponent is the first ever British women's champion, an Olympic gold medalist, and MBE. Please welcome Miss Lauren Price. From the United States of America, now in her second home in the United Kingdom, here is the former IBF, WBO, and Ring Magazine Unified Super Featherweight Champion of the World, Michaela Mayer. Moving along to our matchup for the British and Commonwealth Super Middleweight Championships. First, the challenger, the former IBF International Super Middleweight Champion. He's known as Little Lever's Meat Cleaver. Please welcome Jack Cullen. And the champion from Oldham, England with 29 wins. He is the reigning, defending British and Commonwealth champion. He is Kid Dynamite, Mark Heffron. Moving to our heavyweights, making his return to the ring from Yorkshire. He is known as the White Rhino. Please welcome back David Allen. His opponent is undefeated. He is the former Olympic bronze medalist and Commonwealth gold medalist. Please welcome Big Fraser Clark. Our chief support this Saturday features a pair of fighters with a combined 1 loss. First from Brovary, Ukraine, here's the current reigning IBO International and WBO Oriental champion. Aram Fanyan. And his opponent is one of boxing's fastest rising stars from Slough. Here is the undefeated, reigning WBC Youth Champion, Adam, the Assassin Azim. Mr. Shalom, Mr. Scott, the floor is yours.
Big Mo, thank you very much. Welcome everybody to New Century Hall here in Manchester. Delighted to have you all along here for the undercard press conference. A stacked undercard. I think it's pretty rare that you get a deep and quality undercard like this on what is a massive weekend of boxing. Terrific main event between Liam Smith and Chris Eubank 2. Will it be repeat or will it be revenge? Live on Sky Sports box office from the AO Arena here in Manchester. Before I speak to the undercard fighters, first time today, Ben Shalom. You'll have a chance to talk about some of these fights, but a challenge always putting on a stacked undercard, but one you must be delighted that's held together with so many good fights.
Yeah, this is pretty special. The amount of talent, the amount of standout fights on this card. It's a big moment. Thank you to the Matchmakers boxing team who have worked incredibly hard to deliver something like this. It really is a boxing fan's dream to have this many big fights on one card.
Yeah. Well done to all of the matchmakers. Let's start with Frankie Stringer down at the front. Frankie, good to see you again. Nice to talk to you yesterday as well. Professional outing number 6. Your reaction to being back on another big bill, albeit as a Liverpudlian in Manchester?
Just want to thank Ben and Sky and my manager Liam for letting me be part of a massive show.
What's the main thing that you're taking from these professional experiences at the moment, but also behind closed doors in the Rotunda, training alongside the likes of Josh Taylor and obviously your manager Liam Smith, who boxes at the weekend, obviously top of the bill?
I'm only 22, so I'm learning on the job, and I'm just going to get better and better as I go on.
Well, best of luck on Saturday, and great to have you on the bill again. Lolita Mazea, next to you. Lolita, welcome back to the UK. Last time you were here, you were at middleweight, and that was against Savannah Marshall. Back down at welterweight. Is this a better weight for you, a more natural weight for you?
First of all, I would love to appreciate everyone who's here. Thank you so much for coming. Secondly, thanks a lot to Icon Sports for bringing me back here. You know, last time I was fighting in middleweight, but that was not my natural weight. But in welterweight, this is my office. This is my natural weight. And I know I'm going to do the best, what Black Diamond can do.
Guys, let's just try and keep it as quiet as possible so everyone can hear the fighters. Lolita, you've had back-to-back stoppage wins since then. Do you feel that you're coming into this fight full of confidence?
I'm very confident, and I'm going to win this fight. I'm very ready for it.
And just finally, what do you know about Lauren Price, and how important is the difference between the amateur code and the professional code?
I know about my opponent. She's a very good boxer in amateur, and she's got about 4 fights. But what I can tell her is professional is different from amateur. And what I can tell her is she's going to have I'll beat her on that day, and she's going to have one lose fight. So I'm going to KO her, depending on how I'm going to do that.
Lauren Price, great to have you on this bill. Welcome. A late addition to the card, and I think it's fair to say it's not been the easiest preparation for you, but how happy are you to get your opportunity to ply your trade under the bright lights back here in Manchester?
Yeah, I'm excited to be on this card. Yeah, like you said, I haven't had the easiest of the last couple of months. I lost my brother. But, you know, boxing is a mad sport, and I've been in the gym, you know, training hard, and just grateful for this opportunity. Like I said, great card, so yeah, grateful to be on.
What do you know about Lolita Mazea, and what did you take from what she just said there, that she's predicting that she will win and she'll end your unbeaten start as a pro?
Yeah, obviously looking at obviously record on paper, you know, 18 wins, 10 knockouts, 1 defeat. Yeah, obviously it's my toughest test yet, but I believe in myself. You know, I believe how good I am, and I believe that I'll get the win on Saturday night.
You have a professional team around you and good people around you. You won't be looking past this, but is it fair to say that on the horizon for you are big fights, and you want those fights a lot sooner rather than later now?
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, get through Saturday night, and you know, I'm on to Ben all the time. I'd love that fight, you know, with Tasha Jonas at the end of the year. I think it's a great fight. You know, both being British as well. Yeah, and you know, I just want to, you know, start pushing on and climbing the ladder and going for them world titles.
Quick word from promoter Ben Shalom on Lauren Price. Good start to the pros. This looks like a dangerous fight on paper, but it is fair to say, you know, the carrot that's being dangled are those big fights towards the end of the year and the start of next year.
Yeah, and just want to say what an incredible fighter Lauren is, but also people don't see what goes on behind the scenes sometimes in professional boxing, and what she's had to deal with recently has been heartbreaking and been very, very difficult. So the fact that we can get her out on a card like this quickly says a lot about her character. The idea was that it would be a fight to get her back into the swing of things, but Lolita Mazea got presented and Lauren Price wanted the challenge, and I think that says a lot about what Lauren's about. For me, I don't think I'm mistaken in saying the most talented fighter that we have in this country in the female sport, and just can't wait for her to see her develop, to see her get going. And as you say, the big fights there with Tasha Jonas, possibly Michaela Mayer, who's also here today. There's big fights for Lauren Price, and yeah, delighted that she's on the card.
You mentioned it, Michaela, welcome back to the UK again. Great to have you on this card. Great to have Boxer and Top Rank working together. Fair to say this is another step towards becoming a two-weight world champion, continuing on Saturday night for you.
Yeah, I'm moving up, obviously. Spent a lot of time at 130, and I really feel like it's time I let my body fill out and move up, and I eventually plan on being at 147, but this fight's at 142. I think it's a gradual step. You know, jumping from 130 to 147 is a huge jump, and I have to make sure that I let my body do it right. It's not just about eating a bunch more, but I need to put that weight on properly so that I'm strong enough to be competitive at 147. But my first test is here at 142. I got a former European champion. And I know she's going to bring a tough fight. She's going to try and fight me on the inside, bring it to the center of the ring. So I know it'll be action-packed, and just excited about showing what I've been working on in the gym, because I have been working on some new things, and I want to take it into the fight.
It's a sign that you're doing something right when people mention your name, but you also have targets of your own. How are you dealing with that? You know, your name's being called a lot at the moment by particularly some boxer fighters.
I mean, yeah, that comes with the territory. You know, I don't get offended when people call me out. Obviously, you're young and upcoming champion or prospect, and you obviously want the big fight. So nothing wrong with that. That just comes with the territory. You know, I built a big name for myself, and I've done a lot for the sport, and I want to continue to take on big fights as well. I'm at that stage in my career where it's about the right fights and putting on the best fights I possibly can for the fans. So. Lots of big names for me out there, and at this new division, so we'll see, but some exciting fights for me for sure.
Winning is all that matters, and I'm sure Sylvia Borto will have something to say about this question, but I don't think I'm letting the cat out of the bag, but Ben Shalom will tell me if I am, but I think talks are already underway for another historic all-women's night in the early part of next year. Would you be open to being part of that and coming back again?
I've heard a few whispers about another all-female card. So obviously, when we did that last September at the O2, that was an amazing event. I mean, so many young women came out, sold out the O2, 20,000 people. So it just proves that women, you know, we belong in the sport, and we have a space here, and that we can sell. So would not be against, you know, doing more of those in the future.
Well, it's great to welcome you back over here, and Ben Shalom hasn't kicked me under the table yet, so there's still time. Let's move on to the British super middleweight title. You can see the Lonsdale belt proudly being displayed on the table there. Let's come to the challenger first, Jack Cullen. Jack, welcome, Little Lever's meat cleaver, a chance to win the British title. Just how much of a motivating factor is that for you?
Yeah, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, every boxer, if they ever get an opportunity to fight for a British title, it's one way you can't say no to. And I'm not here for the payday. I'm coming to fight for it. I'm coming to win. There's no excuse on fight night, so yeah, I'm ready for it.
I think it's fair to say that there's a little backstory between you and Mark Heffron. You're known to each other. You've done hundreds of rounds of sparring. Does that make any difference at all when you know someone so well that you're facing in the opposite corner?
Nah, not at all. Listen, at the end of the day, it's business. I mean, we've both sparred each other. We've done, like you say, we've done loads of rounds. We used to be stable mates. But like you say, Mark's been to every gym in Manchester. He comes and goes. He goes all over the show. And I'm here. I'm here to win. And it's going to be a good night.
Rightly, as the champion, he's confident. Do you think that he's overconfident?
Am I overconfident?
No, Mark.
Is Mark overconfident? Well, I don't know. We'll see on Friday night, won't we?
And we asked about it yesterday, but anybody left in Little Lever? I think you've sold your allocation and more.
Yeah, I've done over 600 tickets, so that village will be empty.
We are looking forward to this one. Mark, any response to what he said there? Does it make a difference to you when you know someone so well? It shouldn't really be too much of a surprise as to what's in front of you.
Well, no, I've just sparred many rounds with Jack, and I feel like I always got the better of the spars, and I feel like I'm in a good place, and I want to win this fight.
Do you mind if I ask, how has being champion changed you? Not as a person in everyday life, but as a fighter. Do you prepare different, even if it's a mentality thing?
I always train hard. I'm always in the gym. I'm in the gym all year round. After a fight, after normally I have a week or so off, and I'm straight back in the gym. So, yeah, I'm always working hard.
You started the promotion by predicting a knockout. Now we're on fight week. You predicted it yesterday. You're sticking to that. Anything change that would make you waver from that prediction?
Yeah, I'm definitely sticking to that. Jack's a good fighter. Gets involved a lot, and I feel like he makes a lot of mistakes, and I'll make him pay.
Just a question to the two of you. Something about local derbies with a British title on the line as well that just adds something different, just adds that little bit of spice to it. Is that not that you needed any extra motivation, but is that just a little bit more important that you get one over on a local rival?
Yeah, definitely. To be honest, mate, no matter what fight I'm in, I've always got the big motivation, and I always turn up 100%.
Well, best of luck to both of you. We're expecting fireworks in that one, and fair to say that we are expecting fireworks in this next one. Florian Marcoux against Dylan Moran. Dylan, I'll come to you first. The first thing yesterday was calling for the big stage, calling for the bright lights, desperate for an opportunity to showcase your skills. You've got exactly what you asked for now. It's against Florian Marcoux. Just how confident are you, and what can we expect from you?
Yeah, firstly, I'd like to say thank you to Sky Sports, Ben Shalom, all the team at Boxer. The hospitality for me and my team has been second to none. But yeah, delighted to be here. It's been a long, hard road. Very confident in getting the job done Saturday night, and I'm looking forward to it.
What about Florian Marcoux? What are your feelings towards him as a person and as a fighter?
I think we're two very different people. I'm just someone took their licks when they came, and I'm out here still throwing my hand at it, trying to make it happen. Florian, he is what he is. Yeah, best of luck to him Saturday night.
Do you believe that you are superior to him in boxing ability, that will be the key, that you can outbox him?
Yeah, I think I'm a better boxer. Look, it's been a long, hard road to be sat here today, and I don't plan on leaving Florian Marcoux to take that away from me.
He said yesterday that when you went face-to-face that you were shaking.
I don't know where he got that out of. Look, there was nobody shaking. I'm game ball for Saturday night. Florian Marcoux knows he's got a fight on his hands.
And is this the launch pad for your career? You view this as the start of something big and not just appearing on a Sky Sports card, but, launching yourself into the mainstream?
Yeah, I plan, get used to looking at this ugly mug, because I plan on staying here. It's good to be here. And like I said, I don't plan on letting it slip. I've been through the mill to be sat here today, and I'm not leaving Florian Marcoux take that away from me.
Florian, what's your response to that? He said he wasn't shaking yesterday, and you're getting outboxed.
First of all, hi to everybody. Feeling nice to be back after 1 year out of the ring from my injury. And yeah, hi Ben, hi guys. I'm so happy to be back. As for my opponent, Dylan, he asked for that fight like 2-3 years before. He sent me a private message on Instagram, and he said, hey, we need to fight next. And I accept. We accept the fight, and now we are here. Saturday is the fight. You mentioned before that he was shaking. When we was face to face, he tried to hide it. If you see the videos from the cameras of the boxer, of the other cameras, he was shaking his legs. After he was shaking, he was doing his legs like this to doesn't look bad in the cameras. But listen,
Florian,
maybe
never in my life will I shake in front of you.
Listen, shut up and listen. Let me talk.
They got your high heels on you today.
Shut up.
That's what I was looking at. I wasn't shaking.
Don't.
Your time. He's got a little insecurity. Show him the high heels. They were nice.
Listen. I know many guys speak like this, like gangsters, in front of public, in front of cameras. But when you are face to face, you don't say nothing, man. Next time, when you see me face to face, maybe in a corridor or somewhere that there's not so many cameras, come and talk to me, and you see how much you're gonna talk. I'm not the guy that I disrespect. No one. I'm not this kind of guy. People who know me outside of these cameras knows me. But man, if you don't respect me, it's different game. And I was saying about his shaking, and he was shaking. I say to him, Saturday night, he gonna see that I am different. I say and I do it, and he gonna see it. I'm very prepared, and thanks God, I'm seeing you all. See you Saturday.
It's fair to say that I don't think it's a secret that you've been struggling with your hands through recent fights. So you can sit at this table now and say your hands are healed and you're ready for violence on Saturday. You're 100% fit and ready to go.
Yeah. It feels great to punch with 100% with my hands because of my last fight, and I had a long problem. That's why it took me so long to recover from it. I was 1 year out of fighting.
Florian,
but
you
now
had 2 hands in
I
that
am
fight with the
completely fit.
Don't be telling lies. You had 2 hands in the fight with the Mexican.
Shut
the whole world seen it.
Don't play.
How did you have 1 hand? You had 2 hands
don't
in the
worry.
fight with the
In
Mexican.
the fight, I have the
and
2
he
hands.
punched
No
you
worry.
from pillar to
I'm not
post.
gonna fight with
and
you.
And he got robbed. The Mexican got robbed.
I didn't listen because somebody is clapping.
Oh, no, you're
maybe,
listening.
Maybe
You're
you say
listening.
something nice. Say it again. Say it again. What do you say?
I said you had 2 hands in your last fight against the Mexican, and he was robbed in Albania. The whole world seen it.
Yeah. No worries, man. The important thing is look Saturday, because you're gonna see me face to face Saturday handing you. Maybe you think all this talk, but when you see me in there and before the bell rings, you're gonna understand that, oh my God, this guy is not joking. And then the true show starts.
Yeah. Would you give a prediction to each other? Dylan, what is your prediction for the fight?
Look, this is nothing personal between me and Florian. I wish him and his team nothing but the best of luck. But the game is the game. He's standing in my way. It's been a lifetime of hard work to be sat here, and I plan on finishing the job Saturday night.
And Florian, your prediction?
What you say? Because I didn't understand really good.
I have to say, it's quite difficult with the speakers up here. I didn't catch every single word of that. But
you see, it's a problem to understand. I don't care what he say. I'm gonna say what I will do. I'm gonna hand him. I know he gonna try to box. He gonna try to run, but I will be too much for him. And you're gonna see all that Saturday. I'm very happy. You people don't understand how happy I am to be back. And thanks God, thanks to Sky Sports, thanks to Ben, I'm back. And Saturday you're gonna see a beautiful performance. And something else, because I'm seeing a trainer of Moran that they are speaking like hard guys when they are in their cars. No worries, you cannot fight for him. You cannot fight for him. But if you want to fight for him, you know my address. That was.
Okay.
Hey,
I don't think we will do that.
Exactly.
What happened with Levi Barnes?
What is that?
What happened with Levi Barnes?
We go?
Levi Barnes.
Levi Barnes. What happened with Levi?
What is that?
The guy who was sparring humiliated you. You jumped out of the ring, chased him across the car park. You know about this, no?
Who is he?
Hey. Oh, you know what I'm on about. Levi Barnes. You were sparring?
A sparring partner.
Oh, you know.
My God.
You know.
You guys believe that? First of all, First of all, I don't know this name. Second, for the people that knows me outside of boxing, they know what kind of people I am. Nobody ever in my life chase me. I prefer to die in there. I don't move from my place. That's why I don't know what this guy is talking about. You can try it Saturday. You see how I'm going to run, or even outside of Saturday. Thank you all, guys. I appreciate all the support. I received so many messages. Saturday, you're going to see who is better. You know, all the other is bullshit.
Welcome you back on Sky Sports. You know, in the build-up to this, I wrote down, you said, I expect to outbox him and knock him out. Now Fight Week is here, and you've been in the presence of him, and you've seen him face-to-face. You stand by that?
Hello, Andy.
Hello.
Hello, mate. Yeah, absolutely. I've known him a very long time. I've known him since 2012. We've done a lot of rounds together. I know what he's capable of. He's a very good fighter. I've been out for a long time. I know it's a difficult ask for me, but I expect to win. 100% I expect to win. I wouldn't be here if not.
You'll be focused on yourself, but what have you made of Fraser's development as a professional so far?
I've not really seen much of it, to be honest. I don't watch a lot of boxing these days, and when I do, I've not seen much of him. But I followed Fraser forever, because when he got to the Olympics, there was no one happier for him than me. I was over the moon for him. So yeah, I've always followed him in the amateurs, and I'm glad to see him doing well. And it's a shame Saturday that I probably have to put an end to that. But like I say, it's nothing personal. We're not going to be shouting at each other like these two. So I look forward to it.
But is that the key in your eyes? Everything you spoke about there was Fraser as an amateur, and people talk about it being the same sport but a different game.
Not for me. I think I'm just better in a few different areas. And 10 rounds is a long time. We know each other so well. So he knows what I'm bringing, and I know what he's bringing. And I just think I'm a little bit stronger. I punch a little bit harder, and I can box, and Fraser knows that. So it'd be a good fight. He's a good fighter, probably the best one of my career, and I've got nothing but respect for him. So I'm not gonna be too funny or exciting today, because come Saturday after the final bell, we'll still be friends. So I'm not going to be disrespectful at all. But I believe I will win.
Fraser, your response to that? David thinks he's stronger, or says he knows he's stronger and he punches harder. Will that have any impact on you at all?
He's a strong boy, that's for sure. He can whack when he decides to do that. But I think the Dave outboxing me, it's like me saying that I'm going to become an underwear model for Calvin Klein or something. I just can't see it happening. I've got all the respect in the world for Dave, and like he said, he knows what he's good at. I know what he's good at. I know what he's bad at, and vice versa. I think we've gained quite a few fans between us this week. There's not been the back and forth and all. Two family men that are looking to put a good show on for everyone that's going to be watching.
Do you see this as your most dangerous assignment to date? They're all dangerous in heavyweight boxing. That's one for your cliche bingo. But do you see him as a toughest test?
Yeah, I do. The toughest man and the toughest test. When the names were given to me, and Dave Allen was the name that eventually we went for. That was one thing, and then I'm not naive. I love the sport, and I'm interested in the sport. Once I find out, that he was training back with Jamie and Nigel, I think that added a string to his bow. So it made me up my game definitely, and I'm not preparing for the Dave Allen that shows up sometimes and don't care. I'm preparing for the Dave Allen that is now a father, because I know that what that does to you. I'm preparing for the man that's coming to fight for his kids.
And just finally, do you feel that you are still searching for that breakout statement performance? You barely lost a round. I don't think you've lost a round really as a pro.
I've not
lost a round as a pro, but do you feel that you're still searching for that statement performance that makes people sit up a little bit, or is that not important, that winning is all that matters?
Winning is all that matters in this sport, and and don't get me wrong, people like to see fancy knockouts and great knockouts and all fancy tricks and that. Listen, what you see with me is what you get. I do what I do, and I've got a winner's mentality. That's something that's been in me forever. I don't ever come to take part. I don't ever come to be class clown. I come to win fights and have my hand raised at the end. So if that spectacular moment comes, I'm sure everyone will enjoy it. But my job is to land more leather on Dave Allen than he lands on me.
Just one from Ben Shalom on this one. You liked this fight, you pushed this fight. Two very likeable, friendly characters that kind of entertain a bit of chaos when the first bell rings as well.
Yeah, it's a big fight. The interest has been huge. I think we knew when Dave Allen was involved it was going to bring big numbers. I think for Fraser it's his highest profile fight to date. I think that's what he has to show. It's a huge show. It's a box office show. Fraser's already been used to the scrutiny that comes with heavyweight boxing. We see it all the time with the Anthony Joshuas, the Tyson Furies. That's where he wants to get to. But he wants to show that he's levels above this level. And I do believe we're going to see the best David Allen on Saturday night. May the best man win. As we say, two great guys in British boxing, and something everyone's looking forward to.
Yeah, well said. May the best man win. Our final fight of this undercard press conference, Adam Azim and Aram Fanyan. Translator Vlad Eliseyev is going to help us out here. Welcome to the whole team. Thank you for joining us today. Tell us a little bit about your preparation for this fight, if you can.
Рам, розкажи, будь ласка, про підготовку до цього двобою.
Всім привіт. Привіт Sky Sport, привіт Манчестер, привіт Україна.
Hello everyone, hello Sky Sport, hello Manchester, hello Ukraine.
Це була підготовка дуже довго, бо в перший бій, який должен був бути, Азім травмував руку.
It was very long preparation because all of you know that first fight should be done in June, but Azim got injury and now we are here.
Але це тільки дало більше часу гарно підготуватися.
But this gave to me more time and motivation for better preparation for this fight.
How highly do you rate Adam Azim? What have you seen of him so far? And do you think that perhaps Ben Shalom and Boxer have made a mistake?
Як високо ти оцінюєш Адама Азіма як боксера, і думаєш ли ти, що Бен Шалом і Боксер допустили помилку, взяв двобій з тобою?
Дивіться, я приїхав сюди з України, приїхав багато кілометрів.
Listen, I am come here from Ukraine. I am come here with very long distance.
Багато часу потратив на те, щоб дістатися Манчестера.
Too much time was for came to Manchester because not easy road from Ukraine now.
І думати про Азіма, чи про те, що це була помилка чи не помилка, я не дуже це хочу. Ну, якщо ви вже запитали в мене, то субота все покаже.
I don't want to care about Azim and about mistake, this or not mistake. I am sure Saturday night will show everything who is better.
Will you finally give us a prediction in the fight?
Sorry?
Will you give us a prediction for the fight? What happens in the fight?
Ти маєш якийсь прогноз на цей бій?
Ну, я не погода, щоб давати прогноз.
I am not weather for give prediction.
Okay. Okay. Adam Azim, it's been a long time coming, very, very frustrating for you, but what do you make of what Team Fanyan have to say there? They're obviously coming to win.
First thing I'd like to say is, how you doing, Andy? You all right?
Yeah,
good. How you doing, Ben? You good? Hello, everyone. Hope you're all well. Yeah, do you know what? He's coming to win. Obviously, he's very confident, as every fighter should be. You know, anyone who fights each other should be confident that they're going to win. There's no point going into a fight that you're not confident. So, no, it makes sense. Like, you have to be confident in every fight.
You're only 21 though, and I don't think anybody would really be picking holes if you took an easier route. It's aggressive matchmaking from Ben and Boxer and Team McGuigan. They obviously have confidence in you, and you have confidence in yourself, but you're happy that, this looks like on paper a tougher fight again than Santos Reyes.
Do you know what? Every fight I've been in has always been a tough fight for me, because, I'm treating every single fight like it's a world title fight. These are steps to become a world champion. I've got to take fights like this to develop myself into the professional games, and I feel like my confidence right here is gone even more double up, because obviously recently my granddad has passed away, and this fight's dedicated to him, so it's got that extra boost in me to put a greater performance on Saturday night.
Yep, I know. I've seen the name on the back of your tracksuits. You'll be honouring the name of your grandfather. In terms of preparation, hands are back, ready. You've had that frustrating time watching the gym flourish, and you've had to sit to the side. But one thing that we've seen previously, when you're fully fit and the hands are right, that you are knocking people out. Are you confident enough to sit here and think that you can knock Aaron Fanian out?
Do you know what? I've always had that confidence. I'm going to definitely put on a performance on Saturday night, and I feel like this is going to probably be the best performance you've ever seen in your life. And the last fight, it was a great performance, but I feel like this one is going to be a demolition job.
And big fights, they all go away if you lose on Saturday. But talk of European titles, talk of big names, again, more aggressive strategy from your team. You're ready now, you think, for titles next?
Yeah, definitely. Like, he's going to be fighting for my title, but this is for me to fight for the European ranking. So it's like a win-win for both of us. But I feel like that, if I win this fight, it's going to put me into European rankings, and then we're going to see what's there. It'd be nice, to grab that European belt, but hopefully let me get the job done on Saturday. And Shane's confident with me. He's seen I'm improving in the gym. He knows I'm doing really well. So, yeah, I'm ready.
And final word to Ben Shalom on this fight. One or two eyebrows raised when it was announced in terms of the quality of opponent, but you're confident in your man, obviously.
Yeah, I hope Adam gets the credit he deserves for a fight like this at 21 years old, to be constantly heaping pressure on himself. Ever since he had that first fight with us, he's had the pressure of being the next big thing in British boxing, and he wants to break records. He wants to become a world champion as young as possible, and he's a delight to work with. This is about giving him that test on the big stage that will prepare him for those big nights. And it's you're going to have to be at your best, Adam. This is a tough fight with Aaron. I know he's coming to win as well, and but we think we've got a superstar on our hands, and I'm sure he's going to make a huge performance on Saturday night.
Ben, thank you very much. Thanks to all the undercard fighters. Hope you enjoyed that. We're going to break now for head-to-heads. There'll be plenty of opportunities to get one-on-ones as well. Short intermission, and we will be back for the main event press conference, and trust me, you won't want to miss that one.
Well, Johnny, that was an interesting press conference, a little bit fun. Florian Marcoux in a fine Florian Marcoux form.
He always makes a press conference very colourful, Florian does, and he just says how it is. You hear rumours of what happened in sparring with fights, and they may motivate your opponent. I think it was lost in translation between those two there, so I don't think the point was made. But I think for Adam Azim, I think that's a perfect opponent for his development. I think Fallon boxed 123 rounds more than he has, so he has the experience, he has the confidence. His last loss was 2018, so therefore, and it was a point stoppage. He's not a big puncher by looking at his record, but he can punch, so that's a fight to keep an eye on, Adam's fight there. But the card, to me, it's colourful, it's interesting, so I'm intrigued.
I think for Adam Azim, because he's had a little bit of time out with a hand injury, he will be absolutely, like he said, looking to put on a show on Saturday. He's a man on a mission to the very top, isn't he? He wants to get there sooner rather than later.
Yeah, he's climbing fast. He's been very impressive every performance. I think the key for him is to The hardest part, if you're looking after him, is trying to get the right fights to get him the experience he needs, get the seasoning he needs, because he's got that hand speed, he's got that power, and guys who are meant to take him rounds, he's blasting them out of there. I mean, I know we got some rounds in his last fight. You know, hopefully we get some rounds in this one, because he's going to need those rounds. He's going to need that season. He's going to need that experience, because he's a kid that is moving quickly.
Andy, what kind of problems do you think could Vanyan pose Adam?
Well, he's confident, for one. You know, he's used to winning. He's lost one fight. That was against an opponent who was 11-0, and it was a while ago now, about 5 years ago. So he's used to winning, quite simply. Technically, he's tall, like Adam. He doesn't necessarily box his height. He doesn't really use the reach that comes with it. And he can tend to lean into his jab a bit and bring that left hand back a touch low, and he needs to look out for that, because that could be a problem for him. But he's definitely not here to make up the numbers. You can't tell that much from his record, because there aren't really any names on it, but that doesn't mean that he's not capable of operating at a higher level than he has been previously. I think it's a good fight for him.
Are you pretty confident, though, we'll be seeing the celebrations from Adam Azim? We'll be seeing those back flips that we're so used to be seeing?
I am, and I think it could be a pretty explosive finish.
Are you in agreement with Matt that perhaps one of the, I won't say problems, but slight issues down the line is finding the opponents for Adam? He's kind of, at the moment, high risk, low reward, isn't he?
Yeah, it's difficult, because the European title situation is a bit confusing, because a fighter called Enoch Paulson won it against a Frenchman called Frank Petitjean. Then he must have vacated it or been stripped. Petitjean's now won it, but I think the idea is that he will then rematch Paulson. So I haven't quite been able to work out what's going on with that. I'll see if Shane knows. But I saw a fighter last week who I think would be really good for him if he gets past Saturday. Anthony Yigit. He boxed Dennis Berinchik in the undercard of Usyk Dubois. Now that was at lightweight, but Yigit used to box at super lightweight. He's a good guy. You know, he's only lost to Berinchik, to Keyshawn Davis, to Ivan Baranchyk, Rolly Romero. You know, he's an experienced guy. He's a good fighter. Someone like that. Or Baranchyk, you know, he's still boxing. But those are the kinds of names that we need to be looking at.
What do you reckon, Johnny Yigit? Would that be a good opponent for Adam down the line?
Of course, Hannah, and they'll always struggle to put him in a fight where the risk of his career falling off the rails happening. But now you've got to put him in deep. There's big expectations on this young man's shoulders.
Let's not forget, Adam is still 21 years old.
And
he's
21
still
years
very
old.
young.
And so the fights that he's having, the opponents that are putting him in with, it shows the confidence and investment they have in this young man. Because it's not just what you see up here, what you see on the TV, it's what you know in the background, behind the scenes. Nobody has anything negative to say about the potential of this young man eventually at least fighting for world title.
But it's about taking the time and doing it the right way.
Matchmaking to develop any fighter is the most important thing on the way up, because even if you get your chance and I get the opportunity and fight for world title and you win it by luck, if you've not got the experience to fight all shapes and sizes, you'll have that title for a very short while.
I think Spencer Oliver was just tapping on the shoulder. What did you want, Spencer? Anything? We're live on Sky Sports.
I do apologise for that. I was going to ask Johnny something, actually. And it was to do with the boxing, though.
Are you doing a round of teas? Is that where you're going to go?
No, it's about a podcast, believe it or not. There you go. It's another story. I didn't realise it was live. I thought we was in the break, no?
No, we're definitely live, Spencer. Okay. So.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we'll catch up after this.
Enjoy.
Spencer Oliver is never off the hustle.
No.
Hustling 24/7, always.
We call him the ferret.
I love that we've all got mics in front of our faces, and yet he still comes over.
Trying to whisper in my ear, I'm like, wait, get it off.
Yeah, let's go back to Adam Azim, because there's a bit more to talk about with him, because like I say, he is 21 years old, and Johnny's very, very right in terms of being a fighter. It is the stuff going on behind the scenes that we're not all aware of that really is, well, a big part of the journey to getting into the top.
Yeah, absolutely. Guidance is key. Nurturing talent is key. You can have all the ability and talent in the world, but if you're thrown in too soon, you can get beaten. You can knock their confidence. You can take the shine off them a little bit from a promotional point of view. So, you know, the pace and which you guide them and picking the right fights is an essential part of any fighter's success story. You know, I've seen a tape of his opponent. I've looked at his record.
And what do you think?
He's capable, but the problem I think he's going to have against Azim is it's not that he hasn't got technical ability and skills, but I don't think he's got the speed to deal with Adam Azim. When you've got fighters that are that fast, it just overrides all the... unless you're the exceptional guy that has got great timing and really experienced can cope with the speed. They just get bamboozled, and I think that's probably what will happen.
Do you agree, Andy, with that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do. That is what Fanyan is. He's kind of quite methodical. There aren't too many major technical flaws, but he is quite slow. And I just feel if Azim can trigger that jab, then he could come straight over the top of it with the right hand before Fanyan has blinked. And it could be that could be a real problem for him. I think the speed will be an issue. The speed will be an issue for almost anyone who boxes him, to be honest.
In terms of Adam, though, he's getting some great exposure. There's a lot of pressure on his shoulders in terms of, we're all responsible for it, for hyping him up and sort of expectations on his shoulder. But the likes of Shane McGuigan, his trainer, Shane's very honest in saying that he's quite possibly the most talented fighter he's trained in his gym, and that speaks for itself from Shane.
Oh yeah, and Shane's not really one given to hyperbole.
No,
he does interviews when he needs to, when he has to. He's always a good listen, but you never really see him getting carried away. He's not that guy, and you look at the fighters that have been through his gym. That is some statement. But every now and again somebody comes along and you get excited about them and you check yourself because you want to just be real about whether you're seeing what you think you're seeing. But I think with somebody like Azim, he's done everything that we could really have asked of him so far, and it's just a way that he's taken people out for me more than anything else. It's just, that afternoon show we had on the Sunday at the end of last year at Alexandra Palace, and Ryland Charlton had been lined up for him for a while, but just the way he blitzed him was, you looked at that and you just thought, okay, we've got something on our hands here.
We were meant to be seeing some head-to-heads. We might be seeing some head-to-heads. I'm not quite sure what's going on yet, whether we're setting up for the next press conference, but still plenty to talk about anyway. I can see Lauren Price to my left, Johnny, in action on Saturday night, but Andy mentioned it up there, lost a brother very recently. That's not an easy thing to do, to get in the ring and fight after such a loss like that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's a subject that's very sensitive, and for her, she's probably thinking, I want to throw myself into my career, want to throw myself into doing something that'll take my mind off it. But when Michaela was talking about being a target, she was referring to Lauren.
Yeah.
I was watching.
Lauren mentioned her up there anyway.
Yeah, she did, and that's the conversation she needs to avoid right now, because I think Lauren will give her hellfire. I really do. I think that's the conversation you need to think, forget about that and keep ignoring and pretending she doesn't exist. Lauren's now talking about Natasha hopefully by the end of the year. And again, she's a young woman that you think she could give every one of them hellfire, if not beat them. And so she's a force to be reckoned with. You can see it, everything about her. You can see other fighters respect her. Natasha respects her, Michaela respects her. So she is one that she's got Stardust written all over her.
Like we just said about Adam Azim, though, Lauren at the moment is that high risk, low reward as well. So in terms of putting her in the same sort of sentence with Michaela Mayer, she is that for her.
Yeah, because Michaela Mayer's got nothing to gain from beating Lauren Price, but she's got an awful lot to lose. That said, I do think Lauren Price is going to have to be moved quickly because she's so good. She was such a decorated amateur, achieved so much. She's beaten a lot of these already good professionals along the way in the amateurs. So I think she's just someone that is going to have to be moved quickly.
Andy, what are you expecting in this one? Do you think Lauren will be just looking to put on a show on Saturday night?
Yeah, I think so. But she talks all the time about how she works on things in the gym and how she wants to show them on fight night. And I think from watching her last few fights, what we would like to see would just be to see her just slow everything down a little bit. When you've got the kind of blinding speed that she's got, sometimes, for example, if you throw a feint, you need your opponent to see it and buy it and fall for it, and then you work off that. If you can throw a feint so quickly and then follow it up before they've even seen it, it doesn't work. And I think that's kind of I think that's kind of where we are with her a bit. So I think she can afford to just slow things down a bit, because to beat your opponent to the punch, you just need to be quicker than them. You don't need to be the speed of sound, because you see people in front of her sometimes and they really just don't know what's happening, and then she maybe rushes things a touch and she squares up a bit when she throws that left hand, and that's really the only thing you can look at and think, okay, well, that's something. Try and get that back foot anchored to the floor a bit more, but when you're that quick, that might never happen.
I was about to say, Matt, how easy is that to do? Easier said than done, I imagine.
Yeah, I think like I said, we were talking about speed with Adam Azim, weren't we? I think with fast fighters, they can make mistakes that other fighters can't afford to make and get away with them because they're blessed with that speed.
Okay. Well, this could get a bit tasty, Johnny, this face-off between Dylan Moran and Florian Marcoux. You can just see it in their eyes,
he's like
can't
a
you?
naked flame flowing, isn't he? You just know, just do something to set him on fire, and he's off in a heartbeat. He's hungry, he's ambitious, he looks like a fighter that's beatable, and this is why all of his opponents will get in his face, want to disrespect him, because they think, I'll do you, but he's a tough cookie. And his belief and arrogance and confidence and maturity actually helps win a lot of fights before he's even got in the ring.
This is exactly what I think we were expecting. Getting each other's faces. Yep, and he's giving me the look of going, yep, I like that one. It's bubbling over. I mean, it could catch really a fire on Saturday night, this one.
On cue.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Macklin had just said to me, he's going to push him in a second. He's going to push him in a second just to get a few more, a bit more airtime. And yeah, you could see it was coming, but I think Dylan Moran was ready for it. But Marcoux, I like Marcoux because of what he brings. But Dylan Moran does not scare. You can tell that he's an experienced fighter, not just in boxing. He had a good kickboxing career too. So there's no trepidation and apprehension in him at all. I mean, we say it a lot, but this is a massive opportunity for him. And it's not like Marcoux is this kind of unbeatable guy. There are chinks there.
Mark Heffron, Jack Cullen, again, incredibly serious, these two, about what's at stake on Saturday night. The British title, Mark Heffron's British title on the line, and the Commonwealth as well. And I think with British titles, we always say this, don't we? There is just something a little bit extra that is added to a fight when a British title is involved.
Yeah, and I like the way that Cullen's gone about this, because they do know each other well, and they are kind of friends, but with one hand he's given and then with the other he's taken away.
The kind of friends is always good, though, isn't it? That's a good balance. It's
exactly,
not friends.
Exactly, because in the build-up what he said is, I know Mark is a good guy, we sparred loads of rounds, blah, 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 but then he said, but basically I think he lacks minerals, is what he said. He's a bully, he's a flapper. If I can get through the first 3 rounds, it'll be a busted flush after that, and that's when I'll take over. And that's never a bad plan to have. You just need to make sure that you do something in those early rounds. You can't just be completely passive looking for them to unload and maybe gas out. But Cullen's not that guy. I remember when he first appeared on Sky, my pal John Evans, who kind of keeps his eye on emerging talent in the North for me, said to me, you'll love this guy. It's his line that I put in the notes that we all use. He's 6'3", but he fights like he's 5'6". And that's exactly what he does. He's great to watch.
That is a fight to definitely look out for on Saturday night, and could be one of the fights of the night. Fraser Clark, Dave Allen, or David Allen now. Very respectful, Johnny, between these two. David said himself up there, that they've known each other a very long time, sparred each other years ago. There's not going to be any trash talk. I mean, yes, very serious up there, but that there will be friends afterwards. But what do you think this will come down to?
To me, it's a done deal. I'm not going to contradict myself about David Allen. I think he should have packed him when he officially retired. Now he's come back as a prize fighter. He's a gatekeeper. He's somebody that if he makes Fraser look bad in this fight, this is all about Fraser. It's not about Dave Allen. Dave Allen's not expected to win. Dave Allen, as a fighter, once you've talked about retirement and it's come out of your mouth, you've already retired, you've done. So now Dave's back in there. He's going to give it his all. But it's true ambition, true expectations, true desire in this? Is it there that most fighters have? I don't think it is. This is all about Fraser Clark. What Fraser Clark has got. Is he the fighter he's trying to? He wants us all to believe he is.
But this is a good fight for Fraser in the sense of seeing where he's at.
Yeah, without a doubt, and that's what I'm saying. So the measure is of Fraser, and if he gets it wrong, he'll pay the price. And he can't afford to get it wrong because his reputation, everything, it depends on it.
What do you think will happen in it?
The heavyweight fight?
Yeah.
I mean, I do think Fraser should have too much for him because he's not been that active, David Allen. But we know what he's been doing in that interim period. He feels
and
like...
we know he's taking it seriously.
Yeah, he's taking it seriously. Things have changed in his life behind the scenes and all that kind of thing. But I think Fraser should be a bit too good for him, basically. This is intense.
Adam Azim getting in Fanny's face. Yeah, very intense from Adam Azim. Haven't really seen this from Adam before, Matt.
No, but I think when you're put together head to head and you're some bloke staring in your eyes, it's going to get a reaction, isn't it?
And the higher the risk, the more you're going to get this. This is a high risk fight for him. He knows that, even though he knows what he's capable of doing. So this is why I'd be more serious. The higher the risk, the more serious your intentions are, how you deal with people.
Smiles from Adam Azim, but very, very much meaning business. I think we could see the explosive performance from Adam Azim on Saturday night. He's going to want to prove a point. He's got the limelight on him at a great place on the card as well to do so.
Yeah, big pay-per-view event.
Yeah.
His chief support. He's really into his professional career now. He's chasing titles, and I'd say he's desperate for a big performance, especially with a bit of layoff as well. He'd be desperate to get back up there.
Okay, so that is the undercard press conference done. We are now waiting for the main event press conference. I am so excited about this. I'm interested to see how both Chris Eubank Jr. and Liam Smith are today. What do you think we're going to see from them, Andy?
I think Eubank's got to try and do something because...
What do you mean by do something? As in...
I've got a feeling, I think Bomac might get involved in this one because he's kind of fresh to this. He could come in from outside. He's a new voice for Liam, whereas
Chris.
With Eubank, Liam's heard it all before. It doesn't mean that it can't get under your skin, but he's just got such an easy response for Chris, which is, well, what happened in January then? You give me all of this, and we all know what happened in January, whereas Bomac can kind of try and rile him up in a different way, possibly. I mean, Liam... I feel like he's one of these guys who it's not difficult to get a bite out of him, but I don't think biting does him any harm. I think him getting riled up doesn't help some fighters, but I think it kind of does help him.
That's key, isn't it? Because a lot of the time when you see fighters snap back, we often say, has the other fighter got to them? But that kind of plays into Liam's favour because that's what Liam's like. We spoke about at the top of the show.
He's got spite in him, Liam has, but it's hard to have spite with someone that isn't giving you anything. But we know Eubank will definitely try and push buttons, and I agree with Andy. It might not. He can't push the buttons this time like he did last time because Liam's got that answer of what happened last time. But with Bomac being a new trainer, it just adds a little bit of a dimension. Although I don't think that's going to have any relevance on the fight, by the way, because I just think it's too short a period of time together. But he is kind of the man of the moment in terms of trainers because Crawford produced that great win. And
so actually, you're basically saying psychologically he could add another dimension, but you don't actually think, sort of technically training-wise, there's going to be much different to see.
I don't know about psychologically in terms of relevance within the performance of the fight, but psychologically for the press conference, just for a bit of baiting.
Puts on a good show, though, doesn't it? Yeah. Johnny, just put into context. As you did, the gloves are off with Liam and Chris.
There he is.
Well, hold that thought. Big Fraze is here. We were just talking about the main event, but good to see you, Fraze.
Forget about that. Big Fraze is here.
Exactly. Hold that one for a second. How are you feeling ahead of your fight with Dave Allen? A lot of talk around this one. A lot of respect between the two of you, but how are you feeling?
No, I'm good. It's another day for me. Said this so much this week. Boxing for me is like waking up and breathing. It's what I do. It's what I've done since I was 12 years old, 11, 12 years old. I've had over 150 contests. Only 7 as a professional, but when I get in between the ropes, that's when I'm most at home, I'm most comfortable.
You know each other very well, sparred each other years ago as well, but where do you see that you have the edge over Dave?
Listen, I'm probably not going to stand with him and start trading with him. There's no need for that. I've by far got the most superior boxing brain over him. He's going to try and disturb me, let's say, with little bits of experience he's picked over the years, but I'm not experienced myself. You know, I've been in the gyms around the world, I've been to the Americas, the Russias, and I've not just been sparring amateurs. When we're amateurs, we did rounds with pros as well, and I've had good sparring for this camp. So with experienced fighters, I did loads with Derek Chisora before he fought. So they don't get more experience than that, so I'm all good and in a great place.
They're also saying that Dave's in a great place as well. He's been training hard for the camp, which, you know, in the past he hasn't necessarily done so. So he's coming very confident they can upset the party with you.
Yeah, but bags and pads and all that, it is great and it looks great, and you can tell Instagram as much as you want that you feel great, you're the best you've ever felt. It's different when there's someone else in front of you, and he just said to me, I just said to him, I said, are your legs shaking, Dave? He said, you know that I'm not built like that, which I know. Then he said, you know that I... problem. You've got to start giving an S. It's because it's done you no good in the past. So you've got to start giving it about what's going on Saturday.
Psychologically, do you feel like you have the edge then when he comes in saying that then?
No, I don't get involved in none of the games. Like, once again, I've done this over 150 times, I think.
Making yourself sound so old.
It's all fun, you know. Once you get in there, you touch gloves, and when someone's in front of you and they're feinting and they're jabbing, all that, it just becomes a myth.
Obviously you're looking for the win, but what do you want to get out of Saturday night?
You know, would I like to end this fight spectacularly? Absolutely. Not many people do that to Dave Allen, so I think an educated performance would be great. And I also think, if I do see the opportunity, you know, I don't think everyone thinks I'm big, cuddly phrase. No one's seen my nasty side yet, but it's there.
Do you feel like that's what you want to bring out on Saturday, or are we going to see a bit more of your nasty side?
No, calculated boxing first, always. Always. It's my bread and butter, it's what I'm good at. But if I have to unleash, you know, on him, then I can do that as well.
Is that music to your ears, Johnny?
Completely, yeah. Educated pressure. This is about the smart, the intelligent, and the potential of Fraser and how he dismantles and how he beats Dave, because anything else, they'll say Dave's retired, Dave's X, Y, Z. It's not about Dave, it's about him, how he can control the aggression, the pace, the way the fight goes. And in doing that, it tells us his potential on a domestic level, on a European level. So this is a good opponent for us to see what Fraser's about.
Are you looking beyond David on Saturday?
No, not all. I'm like I say, I'm too long in the tooth. You know, I've watched these men fight, I've watched Matthew fight, I've watched Johnny fight, and I've been watching boxing for years, and I'm always around good boxing people. The biggest mistake in the world is to overlook an opponent, and especially one like Dave Allen, because you can already see the headline, Dave Allen's back, if I let him. But I'm not doing that, you know. I'm a professional in every sense of the word, and Saturday night you'll see the difference between a boxer who loves the sport and lives the sport, and a guy that's come back to try and get his career going again, and ultimately for a few quid.
Before we let you go, you are part of a great night on Saturday. I mean, the main event, we have to get a word for you on the main event. How are you seeing it go? Are you seeing it repeat or revenge for Liam?
I see it repeat, and I said that before the last one. I just think Liam knows a little bit too much in every situation that the fight could possibly go. If it goes to a tear-up, he knows how to do that. If it comes to a boxing match, I believe with his pedigree from a kid, he's been boxing from a kid, and I'm not saying Chris hasn't, but I know he's done it the traditional way, you know, all the ABAs, and then as a professional, he's had tough nights as well, and had to outbox people. I think he can win on all different sides of the fence. So yeah.
Do you think Liam could knock Chris out again?
Yeah, 100%. You've done it before, he can do it again. But I know Chris will be more cautious this time. He might make out he's not, but naturally, you're cautious of what's. If you've sparred with someone you know they're a big puncher, next time you go with your hands extra tight. You know what I mean? So he's going to be cautious. So it might go on longer, but I think Liam is great at breaking people down. So I'll probably see it now. After round 9, because Chris is fit. Yeah, I think Liam takes him out.
A lot of intrigue in this one. We'll come back to you, Johnny, because you did the gloves are off with both of them. With Chris, do you feel like there will be a few demons hanging over him from the first fight?
Of course, I think the fear of repeats will always be a fear. But you've got to remember, he's put himself back in the eye of the storm. He's back here again. So therefore, there's no chance for that. You've got to get in there and be 100% confident and have a complete belief in yourself. Because if he does, Liam will expose that in a heartbeat. And so it's the first 1 or 2 rounds will tell us if the demons are there. But will tell us how Chris tries to deal with Liam. If he's on the back foot, if he's blinking when the shots are coming, he's shell-shocked. So let's see the first 2 rounds. Let's say he gets through those.
Chris has said himself that perhaps he was a little bit too relaxed for the first fight, and there won't be any danger, surely, of that in this one. I mean, both fighters, if they trained hard for the first fight, surely they've trained doubly hard for this one, Andy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when a fighter loses, they have to come up with something. They have to sell the defeat to themselves. The most honest thing you'll ever hear a defeated fighter say is the first thing. And in the ring, he just held up his hands and said, I was beaten by the better man on the night, with regard to the build-up, no offence, all of that. That was the most honest thing that you'll hear a fighter say, is the immediate aftermath. After that, he starts to think, that's not going to work. I can't, him being better than me, that doesn't work. So it's an elbow, and then it's a punch from the gods, and then with Wilder, it was the costume, and then it was the gloves. That's how it goes. So you don't really want to pay too much attention to what a beaten fighter says a lot of the time.
What do you think it's going to come down to, Matt?
If Eubank can make the adjustments that he needs to make, can he? Is the punch? The questions that we don't know the answer to is the punch resistance gone, or did he just get caught with a shot he didn't see and it was one of them? I don't know. Has he got the energy he used to have? That fitness? That he's 4, 5 now, I guess. Eubank. So it's unlikely that he's got that stamina and that athleticism that he used to have, which was his probably key ingredient. So I think now, as you get older, it comes to reading the fight, experience, tactics, and I don't think they've ever been the strongest part of Chris Eubank's game plan. It's always been his athletic ability, and as you get older, the athletic ability won't be what it was when you were young.
We've spoken about linking up with Beaumac, Fraser, but do we need to see pretty much Chris Eubank of old on Saturday?
We do, but I'm not sure if he can get better than he already has been in his career. I think we may have seen...
Why are you whispering?
I don't know. It just went quiet in here. I'm a novice in this.
It's a microphone.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to be turning up the volume and going, hello.
No, I think we might have seen the best of him in his career, to be fair. So whether he can go back and be better than he was before, and he needs to be that to get the win, I'm not too sure. But he's got experience in his corner, that's for sure. He's got a really good team behind him, where he's had long enough to use what they've given him. It takes time, boxing, it doesn't happen overnight. So I think unless he's going to be well better than he was before, I can't see him pulling it off.
All right, okay, best of luck on Saturday. Very much looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Let's get to it then. Over to Big Mo.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to New Century here in Manchester, and welcome back to our viewers joining us on Sky Sports. Repeat or revenge, that is the theme for the rematch to take place this Saturday, September 2nd, from the AO Arena in Manchester, live on Sky Sports box office and around the world on ESPN+. We now begin our main event press conference to continue this legendary fight week. I would love to welcome back on stage from Sky Sports, Mr. Andy Scott, and also the CEO of Boxer, Mr. Ben Shalom, and the promoter of this event. Joining Andy and Ben is Mr. Calla Sauerland, the head of global boxing for Wasserman Boxing. Joining Calla on the side of Eubank Jr. is his new trainer. He goes simply by Beaumac. Here is Brian McIntyre. And also joining Chris is Mr. Ronnie Davis. And now the individual looking for revenge this Saturday. He is the former British, IBO, and WBA champion. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Chris Eubank Jr. And now, on the side looking to repeat. He was victorious on January 21st, and now he is looking to do it again. Ladies and gentlemen, joined by his trainer, Joe McNally, from Liverpool. Here's the former British, Commonwealth, and WBO super welterweight champion of the world. You know him as Beefy. Here is Liam Smith. Andy, Ben, Calla, the bell is rung. Let's get it going.
Big Mo, thanks very much. Those of you that were with us for the undercard press conference, thanks for staying with us. Those of you that are just joining us, welcome to Manchester. Now, on Saturday night, everybody gets the chance to run it back. Liam Smith and Chris Eubank Jr. will once again battle it out over 12 rounds or less at the AO Arena, Manchester. Same venue, same opponents, but yet still so many unanswered questions. Liam Smith told us exactly what he was going to do, and he did it. Chris Eubank Jr. finds himself in a situation that he's never been in before, with arguably more pressure than he's ever felt before in his professional career. Will it be round 5 and everybody picks up where we left off, or is this a fresh start? But the big question, will it be repeat or will it be revenge? Go straight to the fighters, and I'll come to Chris Eubank Jr. first. Chris, welcome. I'm sure you've got plenty to say. Do you agree with that sentiment that this is the first time that you've had to come back from a stoppage defeat? This is the first time that you've been involved in a rematch. Is this the most pressure that you felt, or maybe not felt, but the most pressure that you've been under in your professional career?
I would agree with that statement. I've said that throughout the whole camp, and it's the truth. It is a new pressure that I have never had to deal with before. But I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the focus it's giving me. I'm enjoying the hardship that I'm having to go through mentally and physically to be able to execute the game plan on the night. It is a new pressure. It is a new risk I have now in front of me. I'm excited to go out there and see how I react when I have a man in front of me who has a win over me. Can I keep my emotions in check? Can I stick to what we've been practicing over the last 8 weeks? We're going to find out in a couple of days.
May I ask you about the changes that you've made in camp, notably the man on your left shoulder, Beaumac, Brian McIntyre, but also changes in your structure. I think anybody that's ever filmed with you has always been told don't come before 3 o'clock in the afternoon. To hear that you were out at 8 a.m., to hear that you've got a nutritionist and numerous changes in camp, how have you adjusted to that? Presumably a little bit of a shock to the system?
Absolutely, but it's something that I relish. I relish a new challenge. I relish the chance to try different things. I was never a morning guy. I was always waking up in the afternoon, training in the afternoons and the evenings. Now I'm a morning guy. That's how Beaumac and his team prepare, and I've been following their lead. Yes, I have a nutritionist now for the first time in my camp. I actually came in underweight for the last fight. We don't want to be doing that again. Just little things, small adjustments. When you come off of a loss, you can't keep everything the same. You have to make changes. You have to see where you slipped up, and you have to try and improve those areas where you were weakest. And that's what we've done.
I think everybody's been glued to the brilliant build-up shoulder programming that's been out on Sky Sports. The gloves are off, behind the ropes, both episodes, off limits, all available to consume on our YouTube channel. In those, on more than one occasion, you described it as a miracle, what happened in the first fight, and you still maintain that you are the better fighter.
Absolutely. What happened in the last fight was not supposed to happen. It was never. It was, even to Liam, he may not admit it, but he was not expecting the fight to finish how it finished. Nobody was. But again, it's not for me to say. I have to prove that I am the better fighter. Me saying it, me believing it, is not enough. And again, if he pulls it off again, if he does what he did in the first fight, in this fight, I can't argue with anybody. I can't argue with him. I can't argue with the boxing public. He will be the better fighter, and that'll be it. But as of right now, I know I'm the better fighter, and I'm going to go out there and prove it on Saturday night.
Liam, I'll come straight to you. He said it was not supposed to happen, and you heard him just say it there, whether or not you would admit it or not, that he thinks it was a miracle.
Which one was the miracle? That's the question. Which one's the miracle, Chris? What shot was the miracle? What shot was the miracle?
The miracle was you walking away with a win over me.
What shot was the miracle? Just answer the question. We're all listening, we're all talking. What shot was the miracle?
I'll answer whatever questions I feel like answering. You shouldn't have won the fight.
You answer whatever questions
and I'm
suits
going to
you.
rectify that in a few days' time.
You answer what question suits you.
Let me ask you, Liam, you heard what Chris had to say there about the changes, but a quote that I picked out that you said the biggest difference between you and your opponent is that you're still able to retain information, still learn, still listen, that you believe that regardless of who's telling him, be it Roy Jones or on this occasion Brian Bomac McIntyre, that it doesn't stick.
Yeah, 100%, and you know, Brian and the rest of the team over there will be prepared for the backlash again, because he'll blame you once he loses this time round. He's just gone round the houses, everybody, nutrition, you come in with light, you blame everyone else bar Chris. Eubank got it wrong. You made too many mistakes. You made the mistakes. Roy didn't make the mistakes. Bomac's not going to make the mistake this time. You make the mistakes. Just take it on the chin yourself. You lost the fight because you got nailed. And the miracle was just how easy it was. I said, I touched you. The fight never even got going. I touched you. And what did you say, Chris? You've never been hurt. I hurt you. You've never been dropped. I dropped you. And you've never done that chicken dance. I made you do that as well.
I've never said I've never been hurt.
You did. They were your words. Chicken dance was your word.
You can't not be hurt in the sport of boxing. I've been doing this my whole life.
Chris, it got played over the episodes, mate. It was your voice, not mine. It got played over the episodes. You've never been down. You've never been hurt.
I have never been down. But of course
You haven't now, and I've done it to you.
Of course I've been hurt. This is the boxing.
And you've never done the chicken dance, and you've done that last time.
You get hurt. But the fact of the matter is, it's actually all irrelevant. What was said, what was done, it's not going to change anything now.
You say this when you've got nothing to say, Chris, but we're here at a press conference with a bunch of public and a bunch of media who are asking these questions.
I can talk all day, my friend. That's very well documented. But again, what was said, what was done previously, I'm not even focused on. I don't care. All I care about is the preparation I've had, which has been excellent, and the performance I am going to have on Saturday night, which is going to be exquisite, supernatural. It's going to be a beautiful artistic display of savage boxing, and I cannot wait.
I said the exact same thing to you last.
The receiving end of a beautiful display of boxing.
You said this last time, Chris. Like we're on repeat again.
Yeah.
It's like we're here, the same old stuff. You said all this last time, and then you make the excuses.
Are you enjoying the fact that you get to say to everybody, notably Chris?
I don't need to say it. It said it for itself. Andy, you've done all the work. Whoever done the promos put out what I needed to say. You know, everything. The voiceovers. I've never done the chicken dance while Chris is doing the chicken dance. You know, I've never been dropped as he gets dropped. It was Chris's voiceover. It was Chris. The words come from Chris's mouth, not mine. I was not saying he's never been hurt or he's never been dropped. It was Chris's voiceover on the programme. So, you know, whoever put that together, great, because I don't need to say much about that. That spoke for itself.
But the fact that you get to tell everybody I told you so, how does that feel?
That was the great point of winning the way I won, because it was all week. It was like Chris couldn't be hurt, and I was like, never say never. And that's basically, I told you. I told every one of you, don't ever think anybody can't be hurt because they've got a good chin. I still do think he has got a good chin, but he got it looking at the floor, and he went. And again, the same will happen to him again. If he makes the same mistakes, I'll punish him for them, and he knows that.
Before we go to the trainers, Chris, you've mentioned, you know, you like it when it gets to a dog fight, and I know Bomac is very much a great motivator in instilling the dog in his fighters. It was a boxing match at times in the first fight. Do you believe that there will be a point in this fight where we will get that chaos breakout in centre ring?
It's very likely. it's very likely that at some point the leather starts flying on both sides. But we have a game plan. You know, we have a strategy. I'm not going to give it away. I'm not going to say how I'm going to approach the fight. But I'm comfortable. I'm confident in what we are going to do to combat Liam Smith.
Eubank, I'm going to come to you. Welcome. There's a lot of changes in the team, and you probably are the biggest one yourself, and Coach Red and Isao, Diguez, the team that you've got out there, straight off the back of one of the great wins in our era of Terence Crawford over Errol Spence. So congratulations for that and to the whole team. But specifically on this fight, what have you tried to instill in Chris Eubank Jr. in what is, relative speaking, a short amount of time?
Well, all the things that, you know, a trainer wants to bring to a fighter to get him to that next level, I will say Chris already got it in him. So it just takes me and my team to touch a few points just to remind him of things that he already knows. It's real simple.
A lot of people have criticised Chris in the past and said he just doesn't listen. It doesn't matter who's training him, he doesn't listen. From your experience out there in Vegas, you had a good student there that was willing to listen?
I always tell everybody when they ask me that question is, Chris is a sponge. He soaks it up. He go out there and execute. Again, he already knows what he needs to do. He just needs somebody in his corner, a good team around him, just reminding him of the small, simple things.
You two are veterans, you know, throwaway question, you're not going to answer it, but if you could tell us one thing that you guys can do different from the first fight, what would it be?
Just correct our mistakes.
You're confident that you've got the winner sitting next to you there?
Hey, it's still that from the day one that we started talking. Let's correct our mistakes.
Just one along, Ronnie Davies. Ronnie, great to have you here. There's a lot of changes, but there is a constant here in yourself. What have you been talking to Chris about in terms of the wisdom that you've had over your years that you can impart on him now that he's facing this first time that he's coming back from a defeat like this?
I'll just say the odd things to him. He knows where he went wrong. He's got a really good team around him. I'm really pleased for him. I've followed him on YouTube, his career, his fighters. So he's with the right people, and I'm pleased for that. Whatever he wants, whatever's best for him, I'm there. I've always been there for him from when the day he was born, right through. I've been with him right through his career. I'm proud that I'm still with him, and I feel privileged I'm in the corner of these boys. And that's it. That's all I can say, really. And he will beat Smith. No disrespect, Liam. I think he's a great fighter, Liam Smith, and not to be underestimated one bit. That's all I've got to say, really.
Have you two had the conversation, Eubank, Chris, about the towel incident? It was very clear from the first press conference announcing the rematch that he wouldn't be inviting Roy Jones Jr. to bring a towel. Have you had that conversation with Eubank?
It wasn't a conversation. I just told him.
It was a one-way conversation.
I just told him, listen, keep those towels out of the corner. And Eubank said, yeah, listen, if we got to go out on our shield, we're going to go out on our shield. That's how we play it. We're not going to do any of that, looking for the easy way out. If it gets rough, if it gets hairy, we're there for the long haul. We're going to get through it. But yeah, I think if there's ever going to be a towel involved in this fight, it's definitely coming from the other corner.
So you're not bringing a towel?
No.
Eubank, are you bringing a towel?
He already told you no, so you ain't got to ask me.
Well, you've already just lost every respect you've got for yourself. Then Chris is telling you not to bring a towel. Your job's to be the best for your fighter. So if he's telling you not to bring a towel, then he's already the boss of you as well, isn't he?
I'm sorry, man. I don't understand the words.
Yeah, he doesn't understand the accent, but basically, you're not going to get under his skin. The guy's
What's going to be funny though? Imagine he throws the towel in again after all this situation with the towel. I've had the situation once before.
There's no towels. Even if the brow gets sweaty, the towels are not coming in the corner. Don't worry about that. You're going to have to work for this one. You're not getting the referee helping you.
When you're doing that chicken dance again, the towel will come in. When you're doing the chicken dance, the towel comes in.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, we'll try not to speak over each other.
And I mean this, man. Man, Chris is a different fighter. He's a different fighter. everybody say talk all this negative. This is one of the most intelligent, spongy fighters that I know. And he does what he's asked of. And so it's baffled me to sit here in front of this crowd. And Liam, no disrespect to you, young fella. You're a great fighter. But for people to talk trash about Chris because he got that loss and the way he lost, it doesn't do anything. The more y'all heckle,
Bomac, I respect you too, by the way, what you've done with Terence.
I mean, all the trash talking, that's good and it's fine for the TV. But we got a couple nights to go, man. Then we're going to find out. We're really going to find out who Chris is. And
You're trying to convince the British public who have seen Chris for how many years over a 4 or 5 week period, and you've just said something that everybody smirked at. Like you class Chris as an intelligent fighter. That's one thing Chris is not.
I'm definitely a lot more intelligent than you, my friend.
Chris.
Let's not talk about intelligence.
Results speak for themselves, so I'll be quiet. I'm talking to Brian in a minute. But you're trying to convince people that you're intelligent.
I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything.
You've been on one thing that's never come with you. You've been fit, you've been durable, you've been whatever it may be, an engine. You've never been classed as intelligent in your whole career. Bomac's been with you 5 weeks and he's trying to convince us you're intelligent.
You have one form of fighting. I have many. So if we're going to talk about intelligence, you're not. There's no competition.
Can I bring in Joe McNally down the end there? Joe, you don't often have too much to say, and if you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but in terms of everybody at this top table, I wonder if you perhaps have had the easier of the jobs, that you sit there with the victor on your shoulder. You did, as a team, your job first time round. Have you had to change anything this time round, or is it more of the same?
Yeah, Andy, it's for me with Liam, is not changing nothing. Is making him the best version of himself. And we took a few things away from the first fight that we didn't expect. But look, for the public and the fight, the way it played out, people can say what they want, but Chris danced to Liam's tune from the first bell. He had a little bit of success with a couple of uppercuts, but that was basically it, really. He never got out of second gear. He transitioned through the gears in round 4, put Chris where he wanted him and finished the job. That's the top and bottom of it, really. Liam's very, very, very intelligent. Chris is a fantastic fighter, a very good athlete, and right now he's wounded. He's a wounded animal, and he needs this and he wants it, because where does he go if he loses? But look, if Liam lost, he'd won a trilogy. But I know this man next to me would sit in the hotel in 30 minutes and say, if I lose to this fella, I'm jibbing it. And that's the difference, and I just think that Chris was dangerous the first fight, and he's dangerous, just as dangerous, if not more, this one. And it's one that Liam's prepared for.
Yeah, a wounded animal is a dangerous animal. Just quickly, you'll be hell-bent on repeat, but do you think the method of victory will be repeat? You think that Liam will stop Chris this time round again?
It doesn't matter to me. Stoppage, points victory. It's just a Liam Smith win all day, and I'm truly confident, more so they can say he's got, Bomac, Terence Crawford trainer, they've teamed up, but what can really change in 4 weeks? Rui walked away from the job 4 weeks out, and I don't think you can get a bond with a fighter in 4 weeks' time. If the biggest asset that they've changed for the camp is getting up at 8:30 in the morning instead of training, they're in for a long night, and that's my opinion.
Let's bring in the two promoters. Ben, I'll come to you first. It's probably Callum's fault that we're here, isn't it, with the rematch clause that we spent so much time talking about that everybody told us not to talk about. But here we are again. How do you reflect on that first fight and your thoughts and emotions coming into this second one?
Yeah, it was an incredible night. It's become a rivalry that's been the most talked about in British boxing this year, as you say, thanks to Calla activating the rematch back in February now. The story has rumbled on and on since then, so many question marks, so many things been said. But what we have here is a fight for British boxing. We have two the greatest athletes that we have in this sport, and they're going head to head, and there's so much on the line. And I want to thank Wasserman, I want to thank Sky Sports, because everyone's had a huge amount of commitment to this fight. I know Liam's had to work incredibly hard over the past few months to be fit. I know Chris Eubank Jr. has been hell-bent on this fight since January, and here we are, and all the answers are going to be answered.
Calla, thank you for breaking away from what is a really busy week for you as well, because you've got a fight on Friday night that you're juggling as well. But how have you viewed this from Team Eubank's stance, and what has Chris been like to deal with what is a first in his career?
I think first of all, you know, it's a blockbuster, a British blockbuster in a year where there aren't too many British blockbusters. It's the British fight of the year. Yes, that clause is always an insurance policy. In this case, it's an insurance policy against the punch that came from the gods. But at the end, let's all be happy. We've got a great fight on. It's a fantastic fight. We've heard about questions to Junior about where he is and where he's at and this, that and the other. What about the question to Liam? Like, he wasn't expecting that. Where's it going to continue from now? Is the fourth round going to lead to the fifth and the first rounds? I think it's... No, I'm saying that as a compliment. I think it's fantastic. The angles you can look at it, if you're for Eubank, if you're for Smith, it's fascinating. It's what boxing needs. It's great. Let's not bury any bones about it. This year hasn't been a good year for those sort of fights. So, hey, I'm just delighted we got a fantastic fight Saturday night. My man's going to do the business, but good luck to everyone. Thank you very much.
And with that, will you predict a trilogy?
Sorry. It's that rematch clause. You make me work for that, Ben. You made me work for that. I'm running around, people accusing me of trying to do other fights, this, that and the other. This was the fight we wanted. This was the fight he wouldn't let me do. I've got text messages from him effing and blinding at me. He doesn't really eff and blind much, but he said to me, that's the fight I want in the locker room. There's no talk about other fights, all that, sorry, I'm not going to swear now, but all that rubbish going about other fights. This was the fight in the locker room. He told me, that's the fight, go and make it. Never been another fight. We signed to a fight back a few months ago. We were put through a few hoops and rings, and here we are. We had other options, yeah. We didn't go anywhere, no. We knuckled down. Credit to Ben for persevering with it. Credit for Liam for getting his back into gear.
Show me them messages in a minute. You're going to show me them messages?
I'll show you which messages. I can show you a few messages. I can show you messages between me and Ben as well.
I want that rematch.
Calla, you tried to make the Conor Ben fight, yeah or no?
Absolutely not.
So
How am I going to make a
would you
fight
not
with
negotiate the Conor Ben fight?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. In front of all these people. Absolutely not. No, not for a second. Not
Doesn't matter. That's it. It's irrelevant, but just...
No. If Conor Ben would have been licensed, would we have looked at it? Of course, but the fight...
Conor Ben got cleared. You're the full Conor Ben, 100
How am I
million
supposed to
percent.
get a fight on with someone who hasn't got a licence?
That's what I said, yeah. If Conor Ben got cleared, you were the full Conor Ben, 100%.
Ben, did I ever tell you that we were out? Ever?
You didn't tell me.
Have you got lots of
didn't tell
messages from me saying, when are we getting this fight on?
Look, I think...
the date four times. We're here now, exactly. It's all good. We've got a great fight Saturday night. Tune in and watch it.
Let me just ask this then. So what does that say about Chris Eubank Jr.'s character?
I think you'll see what... it's easy to talk it, but I saw him in Vegas recently, and what struck me was, you always see these Instagram pictures of him with superstars and partying in Vegas. I don't know when he actually films these and puts them out. But he was alone. He seemed not in a lonely place, but he was out in Vegas, and I said to him, he's 47 degrees. You all right in camp over here? He said, yeah, I like it. In and out the gyms there. He's actually, to take away all the Instagram famousness, it's actually he's a proper fighter. He's a fighter that you see in all walks of boxing life. Different. Liam's from a fighting family as well, and but he's different. But he's so into that gym training, Vegas, the whole thing. It's so he took himself off. He had a camp the first time. I think was a mistake in Brighton, but at the same time, mistakes you only know afterwards. You learn from them. He's brought on Beaumate. It's the first time in a big fight he's going to have You know, talk about like, people saying, oh, he's brought in Eubank, what's he going to do, like 4 weeks notice? What are you going to do? At his stage of his career, what are you going to find a trainer and teach him boxing again, come back in 3 years' time? No. Eubank's there to give him that professional setup of a team going into a big fight, which he's never had before in his career.
So Rui never give him that?
He's never done that before.
Rui never give him professionalism. So you give him
throughout his career, he's had senior, he's had
so
Roy.
Give him Roy Jones Jr., the legends of the
You're a
sports.
boxer, man. I don't need to tell you. There's a difference between a team and a person
just
coming
chop
over.
pork and Cali.
I'm not a trainer. I'm just saying he's always had.
Roy is the ultimate professional.
Which one?
Roy Jones Jr. is the ultimate professional, and you're slandering him as a coach.
One of my absolute favourites. He's a good friend.
You're
He's a great
slandering
trainer.
Roy as a coach.
There's a difference between a team and a trainer.
Terrible.
Just my opinion. Opinions are, you know, but ultimately, yeah, it's a win, isn't it? It's a win. As I said, we'll see Saturday night.
Yeah, let's give the final word to both fighters. This is your opportunity. Anything that you haven't said that you want to say it now. Chris, anything that you want to add?
The talking is done. The hard work is done. We're here. We're ready. We're on weight. Yeah, I'm confident. I'm ready to go.
And Liam, the final word to you.
Repeat. Same again.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much. I think one or two curse words slipped in there below the belt, but apologies for anybody that was offended. It is fight week, just to give it a little bit of context. Wait around, we're going to have a head-to-head here, and then I think fighters will be available for one-on-ones. Remember, Sky Sports box office on Saturday night, and the weigh-in here tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll go. All media, please wait for the head-to-head photos to finish before you grab them for interviews. All media, please wait for the head-to-head to finish. Thank you.
Andy, I think you spoke about it at the top of the show when we were talking about what we're going to see differently today, and you said might hear a bit more from Eubank and a bit more from both trainers there, and we heard just that.
Yeah, we did. I thought Eubank might be a little bit more vocal than he was. It was interesting watching that because Eubank, for once, didn't really have all that much to say because there wasn't really all that much he could say. Anything he said, Liam was able to counter it quite easily. Liam was spoiling for a bit more of a fight there, I think. I think he enjoys it. You could see him just leaning forward on his elbows, kind of just ready to go, to seize on any kind of provocation. But there really wasn't too much of it. There wasn't too much of it.
But what can we read into that, Matt? The fact that perhaps we expected a little bit more from Chris, a little bit more sort of stirring the pot, and we didn't really get that, or can we read too much into it?
Not really. I think, look,
I mean, looking at him up there,
he's very experienced, and he's always had a great front, hasn't he? And he, you know, even if he was feeling insecure inside, he would never, ever let that show. So it's. Yeah, I didn't expect anything different, really.
Chris, Eubank.
What do you reckon, Johnny? Are you of the same thinking as Andy and Matt on that Chris is what you expected, or can we read anything into the fact that he wasn't necessarily giving that much up there?
Chris gives nothing away. He's learnt his lesson the first time, all the bragging and boasting, all the bad intentions. It's pointless. Got him knowing now this is down to business and a more serious, measured attitude from him. But there's a lot on the line here. There's a hell of a lot, because if he loses in a bad fashion, yes, that can be the end of it.
Well, you asked him that question, I think, in the Gloves Are Off, didn't you? And he didn't want to answer. He didn't want to say that, you know, what some fighters say is that the career's on the line in the sense of if they lose, then that's it for them. He doesn't want to say that.
Yeah. There are options, but the fashion of the loss, if he loses bad, the options slip away. And so he knows this is very, very serious recruit. Doesn't matter what we think. As far as he's concerned, he's got to put up a hell of a good performance.
Andy, how much pressure is on Chris's shoulders right now?
It's huge, because if he loses this fight, then to be honest with you, apart from this Conor Benn fight that people like to talk about, but which at the moment isn't any kind of a realistic option because he's not licensed by the Border Control. That could change, but there's no point discussing it even currently. Outside of that, he's not going to be able to box at the level that he's used to, for the money that he's used to, with the spotlight that he craves. That's just a fact. So if he doesn't win this fight, his career as he knows it is over.
But a win for him could put him back in the mix again, and some of those fans that are not so sure he'd gain back again, Matt.
Yeah, definitely. And if he is to win or was to win, you got to say a big kudos to him to pick himself up off the defeat and to come back and get a win. That would be massive for him. And I'm sure we probably, depending on how it happened, I'm sure we could even see a trilogy.
I think it's interesting. Liam is still trying to talk to him. He's trying to get a rise out of Chris.
Liam's account. This isn't a game for Liam. This is serious, and I think he finds it insulting that you're prepared to play a game in such a serious situation. Where the silence is deafening. You know, Chris knows it winds him up. Chris is not giving him what he wants. He's dismissing him. He's
but this is exactly what Liam wants. Liam wants that, doesn't he? He wants that back and forth.
Liam Smith, Chris Eubank Jr., the rematch, live this Saturday from Manchester. Promoted by Ben Shalom and Boxer in association with Wasserman Boxing. Live on Sky Sports Box Office and ESPN+.
I think hopefully we're going to have both fighters coming up here to talk to in just a mo. When Bomac spoke up there and said that we're going to see a different Chris, realistically, how different can we see Chris?
Well, I think it'll be different to the first fight, because I think what he needs to do, and I think we all agree, is he needs to go back to the style that brought him his success, which is to be that high energy, relentless, high punch output, completely trusting your chin kind of a fighter.
Surely.
From the get-go, yeah, right from the very, very beginning. That's what we need to see. It's interesting to hear Eubank say there, he's still sticking with this idea that there are many different ways that he could do it. I don't think there are, personally. I think he's got that one way which has brought him the most success.
Ask him yourself.
So to hear Chris say up there that he still feels like he's got a number of different methods of victory, that he can box a number of different ways, I mean, there's not much evidence for that, is there?
No, there's not. Like I said, with the intelligence shout, what Bomac said, like athletic and like long limbs and fluent, I know what he can mean, but intelligence is in boxing brain IQ. No, I don't think he can. I just think there's two ways Chris can approach it, and it's exactly how he approached it last time, but he makes too many mistakes. Or he can come and try and stand and have a fight with me and put 3, 4 or 5 punches together. And I've said all along since the last fight, I don't believe he's got the engine for that no more. So that's where I stand on it.
What version of Chris do you think we'll see on Saturday?
I think he will try and be exactly like he was last time, but I'll try and brush up on what I mentioned. I mentioned terrified of being getting hit, but he was like pulling away and looking at the floor. George Rose mentioned it on commentary. He's pulling away and he's pulling high. I think he'll try and brush up on that, but he'll ultimately try and box me with a long jab again.
Were you surprised there today? I mean, we'll get stuck into what you were saying to him up there in just a minute, but were you surprised that we didn't get a little bit more from Chris today? There wasn't more sort of back and forth in the verbals?
No, I haven't been surprised from the minute we sat down and announced the rematch the first time over and we sat at the gloves are off. Chris has got a different approach this time. He has to. He got humbled. Everything he said never happened to him all on the one night, and I'd done it to him, so he had to be like that, but he's still got that little bit of like attitude, arrogance about him in some of the stuff, but he can't be as brash and as bold as he was last time because it's laughable.
What were you saying to him up there in the face-to-face?
I just said with no one listening, what shot was the miracle shot? Like, 1 minute he's saying to elbow, I think the first right hand does you, and then the left hook puts you over, the left uppercut near took your head off. To class it as a miracle, it's like I've been closing my eyes and threw a shot out of the gods. I'm just asking him to explain to me what he means by it's a one-shot miracle.
Is that getting to you that he said that?
No, because again, I think fighters will tell you it's our head that it's the pillow every night. You know, you can kid, like I said before, you can kid as many people as you want. You go to bed that night, your head is the pillow, and you know. And all this dominating the fight, I'll be honest with you, I've had harder spars with amateurs than what that fight was for me. Like, the fight never got going. I'm not saying Chris was that bad, but the fight, the way it pans out, was like a bit of a chess match. And then the first time I got close, I landed the combination and he went over. Like, I never got going, I never had a mark on me. I went to football the next day. It was not
a dominating tough fight for me, what I thought.
We spoke about it in Off Limits when I sat down with you, and it's not that we didn't think you could win the fight, but some people were still surprised in the manner in which you did it. How confident are you that you could do the same?
Look, I was confident before that, and I told everyone never say never. Don't think because Chris has got a good chin he can't be hurt or dropped, and that was the best way to say I told you so. But the proof's in the pudding now. I know I can do it. Everybody knows I can do it now.
Is that giving you even more confidence going into this?
Yeah, I was confident anyway, but now I know I don't have to load up to hurt Chris. Thank God he's a big middleweight. I don't even have to load up to hurt him. I hurt him with a fluent shot in the middle of a combination.
I'm going to have to let you go. Apparently you've got a lot of media interviews to do, but we'll be seeing more of you tomorrow. Best of luck, honestly. Very much looking forward to it. Good luck, Liam. Confident, full of confidence, isn't he, Matt?
Yeah, just matter of fact, isn't he?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't buy the razzmatazz and the hype. It's like he looks at the facts, and the facts was the fight didn't really hadn't caught fire up to that point. First 2 rounds I thought were nip and tuck. They were both having a look. Eubank landed a few good uppercuts in the 3rd round, so you'd have given him the round. But even though that round didn't catch fire, it was just those 3 uppercuts. And in the 4th round, well, that was the end of the fight. So yeah, it was. I get what he's saying. The fight hadn't really got going.
Is there a danger? There's maybe a really sort of silly question to ask, but because he is so confident and because of what happened that first time around, is there a slight danger of any complacency at all, Johnny?
And I think he's just confident and believes in what he's capable of doing, and that's true belief. Some people look at it as arrogance, some people look at his ego. He's a confident professional. I think what he was trying to refer to in regards to Chris, that he still has that little bit of an ego there that kind of pulls him from left to right instead of trying to be humble and keep it shut to say, look, I've learnt my lesson here. The ego's still there. Now, ego can be your biggest enemy or your biggest supporter, and that's going to be the rise or fall of Chris in this fight.
And we also, let's not forget that, yes, Liam's from Liverpool, but Manchester Arena is a bit like a second home for him, isn't it? So it's a familiar hunting ground as well. And the crowd on Saturday night, I mean, if it's anything like that first fight, which was pretty special, it's going to be quite something.
Oh, absolutely. The atmosphere on his ring walk back in January was spine-tingling stuff. It's the kind of ring walk you don't really see all that often, and you can see how much he was enjoying it and how relaxed he was as he made his way to the ring. And as for any potential complacency, I just don't see it. We touched on it beforehand. He knows as well as anybody that on any given night, anything can happen in there. You don't even have to make a mistake. If you get caught with one you're not braced for, that can be it. It can be done. He's got that acceptance. He has that realism. Eubank might have that now too after the first fight, but Liam Smith's always had it, and it is a strength. It is a strength. If Eubank can come back and win the fight, as Matt said, it would just be. We could never underestimate just what a massive achievement that'll be. We talked about this at huge length, didn't we, before AJ Ruiz second time around, and just what it would take, just what it takes to get back in there with someone straight away who's done that to you. It'll be an absolutely epic win if Eubank could do it.
But for Liam, should he win, where does he go next? I mean, he has aspirations of becoming a 2-weight world champion. Could that be something he goes on to?
Yeah, I think he comes through this. He'll want a shot at the world middleweight championship. Definitely.
What do you think, Andy?
Yeah, I think so too. He's got some decent. He's got some decent rankings. There's a fight with Janabek Alam-Kanuli, the WBO champion. That could happen. Whether he'd be all that keen on that or not, I don't really know. Off the back of something like this, maybe he'd fancy it with Golovkin. We're not totally sure what Golovkin's plans are these days. He's been up at super middleweight, but he'll just want the biggest fight he can possibly get. And if it happens to be a world title fight, all the better.
We say Liam can't afford to be sort of over-complacent, neither can Chris at all. Chris has said already that he didn't even envisage winning the fight because he was so confident that was a foregone conclusion going into the first fight. But now he's going to have to change his mindset a little bit, Johnny, going into this one.
Might make him a completely different fighter, and that might need to be the case. I think the result of the last fight has cemented and changed the mindsets of both fighters. I do think it'll be different. I do think Chris will probably choose to jump on board, get right in his face.
In what way do you think it'll be different?
Got to get in his face. He can't give this man space. He can't let him put him under pressure. He's got to box at his pace. He's got to create the questions instead of having to answer and reacting from Liam. He's got to boss it. And what Liam did the last time was made him work at a pace he didn't work at, make him throw shots that he didn't want to throw shots at. Liam's style is very much like the Eastern European style, where they'll stand in front of you, make you throw the shots, let you put yourself out, make you throw probably 200 shots around, where you usually learn to throw 100 shots around, and so it takes you out of your comfort zone. Chris needs to take control of the rounds and not fool himself to think I had that. He's got to take control of the rounds.
This is new territory for Chris, though, isn't it? He'd never experienced what he experienced in the first fight. How do you think he will deal with that on Saturday night with everything else going on? Yeah,
coming back from a knockout defeat, like you say, there's some fighters can brush it off and think I just got caught with a shot. Some fighters, they don't recover from it. It affects them psychologically. It kills their confidence. They become gun shy. What is interesting was, for me anyway, he had never really been rocked badly in his career. You know, he might have been buzzed, but he never showed out. You know, to go, like, he didn't get KO'd out cold, but his legs were completely gone. He was out, basically. And it'll be interesting if his punch resistance is shot, because that's not impossible.
We've got to remember how big this win will be if Chris can turn this round. This will be massive for him as a fighter, for the respect for him not being a gimmick. Any of that gimmick stuff has gone. The respect for him if he can turn this around. But the positives are great. The negatives are just as bad.
Which could give him even more motivation, Andy, with that in mind.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Reputation is massive for fighters. You know, there's an awful lot of ego invested in everything that they do, and what they fear most about defeats, generally, I find, is the embarrassment of it. That's what they really can't handle. They're not afraid of getting punched in the face. They're not afraid of physical pain. That just comes with the territory. What they're scared of is the embarrassment of it. Is having to face up to the fact that the guy was better than you, and having to show your face after that.
But I think to do it once, if it happened twice again, it's just unthinkable for Chris.
Well, for him it absolutely is unthinkable, but what he knows now is that the unthinkable and the impossible are not the same, because he thought that getting knocked out was unthinkable and impossible. You've got to keep it as unthinkable. You can't be thinking it's going to happen, but realising that it's possible. It could make him better. It could make him better. It might even
because it's happened to him. What's the worst that can happen?
Exactly. It could kind of, in a weird way, it could maybe kind of liberate him, and he'll just think, never mind with all of this messing around with styles. I'm going to go in there, and I'm just going to do what I always used to. Is it still there to do it? I'll find out on the night, and if it's not, I'll go down swinging.
It's an interesting point that Andy's making, because we're all talking about, you know, how the knockout will affect him, the demons hanging over, but as Andy said, it could be something that's almost like freeing for him.
Fighters want to give themselves an excuse for why they lost, and so Chris has an excuse. So in his head, he's still the fighter he thinks he is. If he loses this one, that will completely change his whole outlook. So the fights he's lost in the past, he wasn't experienced enough, he wasn't ready, he lost his fight, it was a mistake that shouldn't have happened. Now, he can't afford to make that happen again. It'll change his outlook completely.
Here he comes himself. Chris, good to see you. How are you feeling? You seem pretty sort of calm up there today. We didn't really get that much from you.
It's a different mindset for this fight. You know, it's a different aura. Yeah, I'm very calm, I'm relaxed. I'm focused. That's the main thing. I'm fully focused. I'm not worried about the bull, you know, the glitz and the glam this time around. Hard work, grit, determination, focus. That's my mindset going into this fight.
Eubank said up there today that we're going to see a different fighter in you on Saturday night. What are the differences, or is it more of the mindset that you've just talked about there?
I think that's the main difference. You can't change a fire in 4 or 5 weeks. I'm not going to be a different guy. Nobody's saying that that's going to happen. But how I'm approaching this fight mentally is different.
What are you doing differently then?
Well, it's just I'm the underdog now. It's Smith versus Eubank. There was no pressure on me in the last fight. Now the pressure is all on me.
How does that feel?
How does it feel? I'm used to the pressure. I'm used to it. I thrive under it. I don't let it buckle me. I don't let it change, my performance or my mindset. But everything's on the line now. I have to win. I can't afford another slip-up.
How devastating would that be? Back-to-back defeats for you. Have you even gone there to... No.
Don't ask me questions like that.
Fair enough. But one thing you did say is before the last fight, you were pretty relaxed, almost too relaxed perhaps, going into that. That surely won't be the case this time. That's something that's got to switch.
I'm relaxed now, but trust me, when that bell goes, relaxation is going to be the last thing you're going to describe how I'm fighting.
Look, we're also talking about perhaps the Chris we need to see is the Chris of old, getting there straight away, stick it on him, have a fight. Is that the version you think we're going to see from you, or what will happen?
Tune in Saturday night, September 2nd, and you will find out.
I'm never going to not give up trying or asking. What are you hoping to see from Chris?
I always just want to see a good fight, and may the best man win. One thing I've been wanting to ask you for a while is, with regard to that first fight, were you pleased with the way you reacted? Because what we saw was someone whose instinct was to fight on at all costs, and you've never been in that situation before. I'm sure you'd always have been confident that that's what you would do, but now you know, and it just strikes me that's no small thing.
Well, I always knew. Liam likes to say that I said I've never been hurt, but it's impossible. I've sparred thousands and thousands of rounds. I've fought professionally for 10, 11 years. Of course I've been hurt, and I know what my reaction is when I've been hurt in those situations. I know what I do when I get winded in sparring, I can't breathe and the guy's coming at me, and it's not, all right, listen, let me just take a 10-second break here, which a lot of fighters do. They look for ways out, they look for rest, they look for some way to let things up. For me, it's never been that way. If you've hurt me, right, I want to get mine now. Let me see what you've got. Let me see how much I can take. That's always been my mindset. You guys got to see that in the last fight, and I guess that's maybe the one positive thing you can take from that is that, Chris Eubank Jr. doesn't give up. He doesn't look for a way out. He doesn't take a knee. He doesn't back down.
At the public workout yesterday, there are a few boos for you there in Manchester. Just a few. But do you kind of enjoy that? I think Beaumac said up there today that only feeds you, drives you on more. Is that what you enjoy? Because Saturday, I imagine, you will be walking out into a bit of a hostile crowd. Just a little bit. Yeah,
no, it's going to be hostile. It was hostile before and it'll be hostile again, I'm sure. Do I enjoy it? I'm not going to say I enjoy it. Nobody enjoys people booing and cussing and wanting you to get banged out. Nobody really enjoys it, but I can accept it. I can deal with it. I can use it to my advantage. I can be the bad guy, and it's not going to affect my performance. Even though I'm not really the bad guy, I know the real bad guys in this sport. I'm not that. But if that's what you want me to be, if that's what's going to get you to tune in, I'm the bad guy. It's okay.
Before we let you go, you're not going to give me a prediction, I don't think, but how confident are you that it will be revenge on Saturday?
It can't be anything else. It just can't be. That's how I have to think. I have no choice but to go out there and win. It's do or die. Everything's on the line for me. Chris Eubank Jr. will win Saturday night. There's no two ways about it.
Okay, best of luck, Chris. We'll be seeing you tomorrow at the weigh-in. Yeah, we'll see you on Saturday. Look, very much looking forward to it. Okay. Take care. Off you go. You're a busy man. What do you think, Matt?
I think we're going to see a good fight. I think he knows the career's on the line. He said do or die there. And I think he'll approach it with that mindset. He talked about mindset quite a lot there, didn't he? Because the reality is that's the only thing that maybe Eubank can have an impact on, is like, to get him into that headspace where it's like, you have to go out there, you've got to take this fight to him, and you've got to...
And that could be the change you really needed.
Could be key, absolutely.
What do you think, Johnny, is coming to that time where I want your prediction?
I think...
your favourite thing?
What do I think in regards to his mental attitude? I actually think with Chris, I think a win for him, as far as he's concerned, it will concrete his legacy, everything that he wants people to think about him. A win is so important for him. I think a loss will change him as a fighter. It will change his appetite. It will change his desire to carry on fighting. But a win will change everything about him.
Was that sort of evading the question, but who do you think is going to win?
Liam. I think it's going to be Repeat. I think Liam is steeped in far too much talent, experience of all types of fights. And again, I know Chris said, look, Womack couldn't teach me anything in 5 weeks, but it was about fixing the mind. If that's the case, what's changed? What will change? Getting his mind right, but what will change? So I'd have to go towards Liam, but I think a big win for Chris is great.
Okay, Johnny's going with Repeat. What about you?
Yeah, I think Smith too. I think he's the better fighter. I think he's more strategic, more seasoned, more experienced, got more. Look, I think that what Eubank's got over Smith, or what he did have, was athletic ability, stamina, chin. He could go at an unbelievable pace. But as you get older, they're the things you lose first. Yeah. And maybe Eubank has lost those things. Okay, he might have a more focused mental approach to this fight, which he seems like he definitely does have, and he'd want to have after the loss. But those areas where he was strong, they were like young man's attributes. You don't get better as you get older in those areas. They get less.
Do you want to give a prediction, or are we staying away from that? Or who are you?
Oh no, I've got to give predictions. I can't say what I think will happen, but
what are you leaning towards?
Well, you have to make Liam Smith a favourite off the back of what happened in the first fight. That's the only logical thing you can do. And if you're betting on Eubank in this second fight, then you're taking a punt. You're taking a shot in the dark, because the evidence we have is clear.
But there are so many question marks, aren't there, over this fight, because really anything could happen. It is a brilliant night of action. Make sure you join us tomorrow as well for the weigh-in and the final face-off before the big one on Saturday night live on Sky Sports Box Office. Just before we go, let me remind you, there's a plethora of programming to watch as well behind the scenes. Gloves are off, behind the ropes and off limits. Get your eyes around that. It's going to be a great night. Thank you, chaps. We'll see you tomorrow.